Ooh, wrong one. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Now I'm gonna do the intro. All right. Welcome everyone to Davey Dak Fight. I think it's round 15. I know it's been like 3 months, so I apologize to everyone for that. We've been busy cooking, and Oda keeps bringing up new crazy mysteries like every week, so it's like hard to keep up. But Sai dropped a really good one on some of the recent stuff that happened, so I had to bring Sai in to talk today about the Sapphire scale and everything else going on. And also, you guys have probably met Sai from Par Vision streams because he's on there all the time. So I stole him for today. No more Monopoly for Par on the Sai collabs. So Sai, how's it going, bro?
It's going great. You're holding me hostage here. You kidnapped me away from Part Vision, but I'm glad to be here, Dak. Thank you for having me on.
Oh,
I'm
my
excited
pleasure.
to finally be here on this channel.
Oh, hey, my pleasure. We'll treat you well. We'll treat you at least as well as Par, which, he treats you pretty well until you start talking smack about Bogard like I tend to do from time to time.
I hate him.
Yeah,
there's no reason to hype that man up.
Yeah, he's never coming back. Like, no character in One Piece gets the amount of hype per panel time as Bogard. You know what I mean? Like, if he's on
crazy.
once, yep.
You would think he's Dragon or something.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's something else we're going to talk about today.
Oh no,
I got some thoughts on Mr. Dragon. But we do love Par around here, all jokes aside. So I do want to say that.
Well, you were joking.
Well, was I not supposed to say that?
No, not out loud. Come on.
I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the people that were here early. I saw you guys. I don't think there's any super chats in. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. But Shiny Charizard, Bean Boy, Tainted Marth, Scuba, Dill, or Phil, I should say.
Change the name.
Yeah, Tiante, Killer Comedy. I appreciate all you guys. I know I missed some names. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go through as fast as I can. Plush. I'm going with the colored names, I guess. I shouldn't do that because that's just like preference towards the mods and the members. I guess I said Scuba, but shout out to everyone else. Matthew, I see you. Adam, I see you. Appreciate you guys. So like I said, Sai dropped a really good theory on Sapphire scale a few days ago, I think. I messaged him right away. There was a really good thumbnail, and I came back and watched it later, and it's probably my second favorite theory on Sapphire scale. It's a bit different because I know there's a lot of theories right now that talk about kind of the Celestial Dragon DNA aspect of things, or that's like where people think it's going, and I think that's possible. But I'm going a different route, and Sai also went a completely different route than that. So Sai, you want to give like a quick rundown of that theory for us?
Yeah, first off, thank you for shouting out the theory and talking about it in such high regards because I didn't see it like that either. Whenever I made that theory, I was like, I'll just throw this into the wind and see what happens. But a lot of people really liked it, and you were one of them. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, it was like my first actual theory. So the way I went with Sapphire Scales was I first believed that it was like Celestial Dragon DNA. It could still be that, like you said. But the route I went was connecting it to Amber Lead. And since Amber Lead was this illness that people contracted by being in, like, close proximity to a certain object, I said, hey, maybe the Sunlight Tree Eve, which absorbs sunlight up at Marie Joie, is what is causing Sapphire Scales. And that could be a reason why everybody up there wears a spacesuit.
Yeah.
At first, we learned that it's because they didn't want to breathe the same air as humans, but we know that in One Piece, some things can have double meanings. And I was like, okay, maybe, if we take that and we spin that, maybe the spacesuits are necessary for avoiding the Sapphire Scale disease when you're up close to it. Which would also explain why some Celestial Dragons have not been seen wearing suits, like Doflamingo, like the Gorosei, Emu, and even Garling, because they're not directly up next to the Sunlight Tree Eve, whereas the other ones could have been. Maybe your home is, off to the west side, so you got to wear that suit, you got to protect yourself.
That's me.
And eventually,
I live out on the west side. That's me.
Oh my god, yeah. You're wearing that suit too.
I have to.
Pulling off the St. Charles fit.
I have to.
Yeah, and eventually, if you contract the Sapphire Scales and if you try to cure it by running away from the sunlight, you'll eventually... This is where it gets crazy, but you eventually turn into a fishman. Which is something I didn't think of at first, because you said you liked the thumbnail, which I had Bonnie turning into a dragon, which was my original idea. But the more I talked about the theory to myself, I was like, wait, no, like, I feel like Fishman makes the most sense because they just turn into what they hate.
But dragons are fish, technically. Right?
Yeah. Confirmed by Oda, the fish fruit.
Yeah,
Model Seryu.
and so I guess I'll say my favorite part about the idea again was, it wasn't the DNA aspect, but it was like that proximity thing, which you talked about Amber Lead a second ago. But something else you brought up in the video, which was what really sold me on it, was the tie to Skypiea, right, with the trees.
Yeah.
So the Amber Lead, or not the Amber Lead, but the tree fever, like, or the those trees, the sacred trees in Shandora, were giving tree fever to everything else, basically. And so Nolan cut those down. And I think that's really impactful because, like, there's like some kind of like Oda writing level hints to it, like the fact that in this chapter we heard about Sky Islands, and it's like, so, to make that connection back to Skypiea, I think that's something Oda, I think, would do, is like throw an extra little hint in the chapter of like what it ties to. So I like that a lot. And we also just know, like, the Skypieans or Shandians fought the world government in the Void Century. So just to kind of tie all those ideas together, I like that a lot. And those are trees, and obviously the Sunlight Tree Eve is a tree, right? So I think all those, like I said, it's my second favorite idea. I like it much more than the DNA stuff. Not because it won't happen, it's just because I feel like that's almost obvious. Like, it seems like that's what Oda wants us to think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, also the reason why I liked it is because it does tie into my favorite idea, but it has all the good parts of my favorite idea, but mine's just a little bit different, where I think it's a disease that Vegapunk's making, or was trying to make, because it ties back to the dragon aspect, where, remember, he tried duplicating Kaido's fruit. And so you talk about this disease kind of makes them fishmen, which are also dragons in a way, right? It's like, well, what if that, like, Vegapunk already tried duplicating that fruit which would make people fish, technically, right? With the like, Momo is a fish now, kind of, whenever he's a dragon. And so I think he tried duplicating that another way, but with a disease. That's where I'm kind of at. And I like where yours sits, because it's like the same idea is mine, where it's like still like it's turning people into dragons or fish or whatever, but through a different means. You know what I mean? So I like that a lot. I would say the one issue for me is just that, like, it would be silly to have something so dangerous right next to you. You know what I mean? Like, if the celestial dragons can turn into dragons, that's my only issue. But it could be so important that they deal with it anyway. And that would be the tie-in, I think, of like, why have they been keeping it? Why do they hold it in such high regard that they're okay risking their lives? You know?
Yeah, it's like a religious thing, maybe. Maybe they worship the tree for the past 800 years. Maybe the tree gives you something, because I know a lot of people were saying that maybe the tree is where we can find the most devil fruits as well. I know that's like an old, long-running theory, because the Adamwood tree, you can take Adamwood from it, right?
Right.
But what about the Eve tree? And I don't want to be that guy, but like, Adamwood, Guy, Wood, Eve, maybe it gives birth to fruits.
I like that a lot. Actually,
it sounds kind of goofy, but
no, that's actually such a good tie-in to my last video with Robin. So I'm gonna comment on that in a second. I just want to get over to the super chat before I miss it. Super Scorpio, I appreciate you, bro, with the $10. Looking forward to seeing the chemistry form on stream. Both of y'all know how to hold a convo. Let the hockey bloom. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. I've been trying to have Sai on here for a long time, but like I said, Par had the monopoly, so I had to get on the schedule a little bit.
Every time Dak reached out, I just ignored it. I said, no, sorry, Par has me right now.
Yeah, yeah, every single time.
Exclusivity.
But we have like kind of collabed before. Like, I know we did that discussion with Zonin and Par before. So Sai and I have talked before, but it's just the first time we're getting, I'm getting them on stream. So, but I appreciate you.
It's our first date.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we both swiped right. Finally, I swiped right.
Finally happened.
Yeah, I had to like buy the super likes and super like you, so you got reminded. That was the only way
I bought Tinder Plus for $500.
Did you really? Is it actually? You say 500?
Yeah, have you not heard?
Is that how much it costs?
Yeah.
I never heard. I didn't know.
There's a Tinder Plus for $500. It just came out this year.
If that doesn't get you laid in 20 minutes, it's a scam.
Not worth. Yeah, not worth.
Also, a major shout out to Adam Murray for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate you, bro. Killer Comedy, welcome again to the crew. Lloyd Boy, Tosmore, Nasty Ninja, and JJ. It's a great group of people to get some memberships right there. I appreciate you. Everyone who's a member and who just got a membership, Make sure to go to my community post. Look a few days ago. There's a post about a giveaway for One Piece TCG cards. We're going to be opening that in a couple weeks. And if you enter before this Sunday, like just got to comment and say you're interested, then you'll be entered for a chance to get cards on that stream. FYI.
Nice.
Yeah, I like the giveaways, man. The One Piece TCG, because also if I do it a giveaway, to my understanding, I haven't done it yet, but it should also be a tax write-off, which means I can do tons of giveaways.
Oh, snaps.
So if I can do that, we're going to be having lots of giveaways, guys. So
Yeah, you're gonna be like the Goodwill of YouTube.
yeah, I'm going to be like Santa. I'm going to have to call up Chopper and get a reindeer to fly me around.
Yeah, fly around the TCG cards. Do you play the TCG?
No,
Or you just collect.
I just collect, and I'm trying to hunt the manga rares with. So like I'm giving away all the cards, but if I get the manga rare, I'm gonna keep them, which is like the most rare card.
Hey,
if I get that, then I'll keep it. But then I'm gonna give whoever would be getting that card normally in the stream, I'll give them something else worth it. But I just want the card. Like I like pulling them.
Give them something else. I love that.
Well, I'll give them like a full booster box of cards, right? Like then they get it. So like, they'll get something worth it. But I just the point of it is I want to get the card, and I can keep the card, like display it in the back or even like somewhere nicer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Also, major shout out to Lol Sauce McGee for being a member for 10 months. I appreciate you, bro. Almost 1 year. Like the stream. Yes, everyone, please like the stream. I say it every time. Excuse me. Makes a huge difference.
Need the tax write-offs.
Yes, that too. But it makes a huge difference in the algorithm. Like massive.
Are you good?
I don't know, man. I don't know what I just inhaled.
Were they trying to take you out?
I inhaled something down the wrong pipe.
Was that big TCG coming after you?
Yeah, exactly. It's the IRS. They heard about the tax write-offs and they came after me.
They weren't too happy about it.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, I want to get back to what you said about the Adam tree and the Eve tree, and like maybe the irony of what their purposes are. You know, the Adam wood is hardwood, and the Eve tree is maybe more, I don't know, giving birth focused, you could say, right? And I like that. Yeah. And I like that a lot because I just talked in my Robin video about the irony of, like, when Robin fought Black Maria, which, by the way, Black Maria was a spider with horns, and Saturn is a spider with horns, right? So there's like a weird little connection there. And Robin became a demon flower. Now just think about that for a second. Demon flower compared to devil fruits, right? Like so closely linked right there. And the thing is that flowers and fruits are closely linked because like a flower is basically the reproductive part of the plant essentially, or like that's how, you know, it functions. So then it'll end up turning into a seed in a fruit once it gets pollinated, right? Like you need flowers to make fruits. And so then you think that Emu was seen in the Chamber of Flowers, one of the first times we ever saw Emu, which is presumably near the Sunlight Tree Eve, I would imagine, or there's some kind of tie there because it's like, it's a garden, there was light coming in, you know, the Sunlight Tree Eve's got to be somewhere. So I like that connection to the idea that like, maybe the reason they keep that tree in Marie-Joie, or just keep whatever that is, the top of it, like they focus on it, is because maybe it could be that it gave birth to the devil fruits or whatever, but it could also be that, like, what happens if a devil fruit user drowns or something and there's no fruits available? Like, what if the whole world got submerged in water? Where would the fruits go? Where would they recycle to? Maybe they have to go to the tree, right? And maybe that's the point of the flooding. You flood the whole planet. All the fruits are, like, regular fruits are covered in water. All the people are covered in water. Where do the souls go? They have to go back to the tree, like back where they started. And then the government can basically force reset the devil fruits. That's like something I was already thinking, but then with your theory, I was like, oh, that would be like a beautiful connection. So I don't know what you think about that, but
no, I like that one too, because I feel like it has to have some ties to the Void Sentry and Emu. And I like that if maybe that's where they all came from. Maybe even there's souls from the Void Century that are stored within that tree, and that's what devil fruits truly are. Because back in Shandora, that's what they believe. They believe that their ancestors lived within the trees that were giving them the sickness. So maybe, you know, Emu has, quote, Nakama or souls in there that they really liked back in the day. And that's why Celestial Dragons are putting up with it and living near it because of this false religion. Which, I mean, you know, ties back to, like, the whole religion aspect of One Piece coming into play the last couple of chapters, too.
And I mean, like it has come into play a lot in the last couple chapters, but I think even if you go back, there's a lot of hints that this was going to happen because like they're all named Saint and like their symbols a cross basically, even though it's like, you know, like the supposed to be like the four C's connected or whatever, but it's still a cross formation. So and now, like you said, you know, lately, I mean, we got the Bible, right? Like literally Bible is what it says, and like the Book of Genesis,
One-to-one Bible.
yeah, and the Book of Genesis talks about Nerona Emu, right? Like that's where the origin story of the world is, I guess, which like that's how it is in the actual Bible. So yeah, so I think we're definitely onto something with the idea just that like these trees that the ancestors would like come back to or whatever in Shandora. It could be that same thing, but with the devil fruits, right? It's like all the ancestors of the fruits come back here eventually. Like that's the idea. But then I think the irony of it would be that, you know, we know that zone fruits have wills of their own and stuff. So it might be that maybe the fruits don't want to go back there. And that's why they keep going to nearby fruits. Like, please don't take me back. Like, I don't want to be in the tree anymore. And so, and I don't know, I feel like there's just so many cool things about your, like, the way that you could tie your theory, and that's why I was a huge fan of it. I don't know.
Man, I feel like after all this, I'm gonna have to be like checking my corner for trees. You know, like my front yard is gonna have no trees up there. Yeah. Like I'm gonna see my neighbor planting some flowers. I'm gonna back away a little bit. Like I don't know, brother.
Yeah, you need to put like cement everywhere on your property. You know what I mean? Just like no trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like no plants in the house. Although I know you have cats. I don't know if your cats do this, but my cats, like if I get like a plant, it's just dead because like the cats.
Oh yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, the cats eat it or like destroy it. Yeah.
I got like a bunch of fake plants, but because I can't have real ones. And even if I have like a real plant, like I bought them catnip, right? Little catnip in a little jar. Yeah. And let me tell you, they started digging the dirt out. And I was like, man, they digging to China or something. They want to find my hometown. So something's going on over here. They want to go back to the motherland.
I don't know what cats think, man, but that's why I love them. Is they're just, I mean, the curiosity killed the cat thing. Like it's so, like, at least for me, like I had a cat for like a week, and I was like, I see why that thing exists, like why that saying exists. That probably took humans like no time to come up with that line because it was so quick. Yeah. Like, you know,
it was in the Book of Genesis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it was right next to the Nerona Emu paragraph.
Yeah, we're gonna see them in the Void Century.
Yeah, exactly. But I do want to talk a little bit more about this kind of theory I've been thinking about with the Sapphire scale, just to kind of get your thoughts on it, because I talked about it in my review video, and I've kind of. Like, once I saw your video, I was like, oh, okay, he's a good person to bounce some ideas off of. He's, like, on a similar train of thought. So, like I said, I think it's going to be a Vegapunk disease. In that part, I mean, it could be a Vegapunk-created disease, or maybe it's a disease that Vegapunk was trying to, like, cure or figure out, so he needed test subjects. Who knows how that works? But the reason I say that is because you tie it back to Vegapunk making that devil fruit. And you think about Guernica in Wano, and he was like, you know, I'm so glad that devil fruit was a failure. If it was a success, we would have taken it right away. Like, indicating that the government is thinking about Kaido's powers to some degree, which makes sense because Vegapunk was, like, you know, studying him. But then you also think about God Valley, where Kaido's fruit was, and while we don't know for sure, the treasure that they were going after from Hachinosu, it seems like it could be the fruit, or it's like all the fruits because of the dialogue where they're like, I'm gonna get it. No, I'm gonna get it. Finders keepers. And then Kaido's like, well, it's useless in your hands, Linlin. It's like, okay. Seems like they're all talking about the same thing. That dialogue makes it sound like it's a devil fruit because Big Mom can't eat one, right? Because she already has one. So then, yeah. So I think Kaido's fruit makes a lot of sense there. So now we have this whole story of like, the government really wants Kaido's powers. Like, for some reason. Like, he's a dragon. And then talking about what you're talking about with the scales and stuff, like, that could be like the tree maybe turns them into it, or however that works, right? I don't know.
That's so crazy. They want the devil fruit so much that they put it into competition and let it get stolen. I agree with you that it's most likely the devil fruits, but logically it makes no sense because it's like, dang, they went out of their way to collect it, and now they're just offering it up to whoever wins the tournament, which is fine, but they let it get captured, and then at the end of the day, Kaido's devil fruit is awesome, right? Like, it's super powerful. It's a mythical Zoan, it's a dragon. But at the same time, it's like, does Oda want to bring back the Azure Dragon into the final saga that heavily? Because we already have Momo. We're gonna
Yeah.
have Kaido, who's probably gonna come back because it's One Piece, and then we're gonna have this third tie-in with why the Celestials wanted and why Rox D. Zebek considered it their like national treasure. It's like
Yep.
that's the one part where I'm hung up.
So here's what I'm thinking. So we didn't see Kaido awaken in Wano, right? And also, remember when Vegapunk was talking about how Momo's fruit is a failure? Well, he said it was because of the color. And now we know, sapphires are usually blue, right? So now maybe when he said the color wasn't right, we took that as, oh, he's just a huge perfectionist, right? Like, oh, even though it's just the color, he still thinks it's a total failure, even though he duplicated a dragon fruit. Like, that's crazy. Well, what if it was a total failure because without it being blue, you don't get the sapphires, right? Like, that part isn't there. And he also talked about how the fruit might not awaken. So basically, maybe Kaido's awakening is a giant sapphire celestial dragon, because remember, the sapphires also get charged by the sun. So even in the sapphire scale disease, you have a celestial component with the sun part and a dragon component with the scale part. So I'm wondering if Kaido, and the reason why King was like, I think you're Joy Boy, like he was convinced of it for some reason. Maybe it's because he can turn into like a legitimate celestial dragon type thing that like is powered by the sun, which is like sun god-esque, I guess you could say. And then the idea, I think the idea would be the the Gorosei / other celestial dragons might have like the propensity to do that, which kind of ties back to your theory a little bit, where like, what if the government was trying to find a way to become those kind of dragons without going near the tree and suffering? You know what I'm saying? So like, but because eating a fruit, that's not going to cause you the same kind of pain that this disease is, right? So maybe that's the thing, is like they're trying to recreate this celestial, quote unquote, celestial dragon, like in actuality thing. But it's, like they're just trying to come up with different ways. Vegapunk tried a fruit, didn't really work. And then he tried a disease because, Queen was into diseases and they were all in mads. Like if he duplicated a fruit like Caesar did, if he duplicated humans like Judge did, maybe he's also trying diseases like Queen did, and that's where this disease comes from. Or he's just testing it, like maybe they put Jenny near it and we're like, all right, Vegapunk, try to fix her and see if you can like learn how to master this, or something like that. Like there's a lot of weird connections there, I think.
I think the one part where the most interesting part about the sapphire scales to me, though, like the blue skin is one thing that's crazy, but the scales itself, because they described it as hard rock-like scales, where I'm like, okay, even if it is a fish, even if it is an actual dragon, do they have rock-like scales? Is that a thing?
Well, in Wano, during the prison part, when Luffy was training with Hyogoro and he was learning Ryo, he specifically said, like, this might be strong enough to beat Kaido's scales.
Oh, gotcha.
So he kind of commented.
Dragons have hard scales.
Yeah, and Kaido, and I don't know if this is maybe a hint to all of this, but Kaido even has a tattoo of scales, like, all over his body. Like, that's a tattoo.
He does.
So, like...
Man, he's committed.
Yeah, like, does he know? Like, that... And so that ties back to Rox and everything. Like, did Rox know, like, the government wanted that fruit because it could become, like, a legitimate celestial dragon or whatever it is, like this jeweled dragon thing? And then Kaido wanted it because he's, like... It's almost like he's playing defense in terms of, like, the world. Like, we can't let the government get this one. Like, I have to keep it, so, like, they... Because maybe
and then he stacked up on Wano, out of all places, too. The one place that, like, nobody knows about.
Yep.
Or doesn't want to visit.
Yeah, like, even Akainu's like, the samurai, I don't know. Which, by the way, maybe we'll get into some of these parts, other topics of discussion, like Dragon and some other just small issues that I've had and I've seen people talk about on Twitter, which is some people and being inactive in the story, basically. But I do think it's really weird that Akainu was like, no, Kizaru, you can't go to Wano. Like, we don't know about the samurai. And then he's like, Green Bull, you can go to Wano. Like, to me, that was always so weird. Like, just also,
it seemed like
faster.
Akainu had his arm twisted. Because I mean, Green Bull was already on the way. Like, the guy was flying over. He was already over like the waterfall. Like, it's like, well, I can't stop this guy now, right? Like, he's already driving over.
That's true. And I guess it was more like, Kizaru, I need you to be ready for Egghead because we need that Sabaody parallel. We can't have you going anywhere. Real quick, I want to get to a couple super chats just before I get
Yeah,
too
go
far behind. Let's see. I think saw Lonely Mage. I think was the last. Yep, Lonely Mage. I appreciate you with the $10. Bonnie's 10th birthday falls on the year Luffy was in Skypiea. What if the Golden Bell Luffy rings is what destroys the Sapphire scales? Bonnie has a golden ring in place of the Sapphires now. I like. Well, okay. Well, I guess the 10th birthday part. I guess we don't know when her actual... It's just that she was 10 that year, I guess is what you're saying. I guess we don't know when her actual... We don't know the months in One Piece, but I get what you're saying. And then... So the Golden Bell affects the Sapphire. I'm going to be honest, I like the idea that you're going with. Maybe it's not the Golden Bell specifically. But, I mean, she did talk about Sky Island, so I like that connection a lot. Because, like, they also... Because, like, her 10th... Oh, I see why you brought the 10th birthday, because she was supposed to die by then. But... I think maybe more than just the Golden Bell, it could be music in general. Or like some sound or something is what cured her. Not that like, I don't know. I mean, it could be, I don't know, I go back and forth because the Golden Bell would be really cool. But now
Yeah.
it's just how would it have been cured? Because like she obviously would have been cured before that. Nobody found the bell. So it has to be something else, I would say. But the idea that it's music in general, like a certain frequency of sound, because we've even heard the word frequency used with devil fruits before, like I think Chopper maybe said it, like with the rumble balls, like he's messing with the frequency of the weight of like the devil fruit abilities or whatever it is.
And that's how he transforms.
Yep. So I like that. I do like that a lot, Lonely Mage, honestly. I don't know what if it's the drums of liberation sound? Like what if Vegapunk recreated it and that just was it? I doubt that's it, but that would be crazy.
Yeah, like if something were to cure her and if it was music, it would have to be the drums of liberation. I can't imagine it being anything else.
That would just be...
But also, it's hilarious that it's music out of everything, too. It reminds me of like those old school voice-activated magic lessons.
I don't know those. Voice-activated magic lessons.
Yeah. Like, you ever like go on TV and they're like, hey, like call this number and we'll speak some frequencies into you and you'll feel much better.
Now
Your anxiety will be cured.
Yeah,
like those things. Yeah.
Which, I mean, those are probably a scam, but I feel like there is research to show that it does. At least certain frequencies can affect you negatively. I can say that for sure. Like if you hear like a certain sound, even if it's like very low and you can barely hear it, it'll like give you headaches and stuff like that.
Or like when you hear Par talk about Bogard, it kills you inside.
Every time. At this point, whenever like the word Bogard starts to come out of someone's mouth, it just like my ears stop working. They just shut off for a little bit.
It starts bleeding.
Yeah. It's so funny though, because I know Bogard's gonna appear probably in like 2 or 3 more panels throughout the series, and then every time will be a bunch of hoopla, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any Bogard people in the chat dogging us for the Bogard hate, but
there can't be. They don't exist.
Yeah.
They don't exist outside of Twitter.
They don't exist outside of Par's streams. That's what he got them all. Let me read a couple more super chats. So Mr. Bushido, it had like on my screen at least, it had like 10 different super chats from you, but they were all the same one, and I was like really worried that like your credit card thing busted, like it just kept hitting send, and I was gonna ask if you needed help, but I can only see one on the YouTube side, so I think it's all right. You said Perona and Bonnie are half sisters. I like that idea. I've heard you talking about that in the Discord. Lots of similarities. She also has the disease, maybe. I feel like she wouldn't have the Sapphire disease. And I saw people bring up like Roger and other people with the Sapphire disease, and I feel like we would see the Sapphires. Like it would be really silly to like have the Sapphires like under his clothes or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's possible, right? I can't completely rule it out, but I feel like Oda would do something different. It's just like, he's made a bunch of diseases already. Why not just keep making random ones? Like he doesn't have to use them again. But I do like the idea that Bonnie and Perona are half sisters. Like, which I guess the idea would be, like, so Ginny. Well, I guess we don't know canonically yet, but I would say so. Ginny probably has pink hair, or do we not? We don't think we know, but like that's where the hair probably comes from. I would imagine is Ginny. But if not, then it would be that the pink hair might come from Celestial Dragon, like whoever their dad is, if they have the same dad, and that's where the pink hair came from. But then the question would be, well, where does it come from? And I don't know, like, Shanks has red hair, so if you just mix white and red, I guess you might get pink hair. Not that that's really how it's supposed to work with, you know, genes in the real world, but
In the One Piece world, we give it a pass.
Yeah, everything goes, especially when it comes to like lineage factor at this point, because
yeah,
it's just that's like the name of the game at this point. But I like the idea though, just because the Bonnie and Perona like connections, and like Perona's coming back into the story right now. She you know, Moria, we don't really know the extent of their relationship, but it almost seems like father-daughter to a degree, the Moria and Perona connection. Like we don't know their story or whatever, but that seems to be more
we know
what
like
it
a
is.
snippet of their story,
Yeah.
where Moria like found her, and she didn't have any parents, so like Moria adopted her,
Right.
and took her under his wing, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so it seems more father-daughter than like crewmate, even though she is like first commander or whatever, or second commander, because Epsilon's dead. I don't know what you want to call it. Or he's supposed to be dead, which I have a theory that he's not dead, but you know.
Warlord commander.
So whatever her connection is though, I like it because Moria is from the West Blue, and Kuma may not be from the West Blue, but he kind of is because of God Valley, right? Because like that's where he got freed, was God Valley, or he freed himself, I guess. But so I like that connection, just like the West Blue father-daughter, pink hair, like all that. And then also Moria and Kuma are connected because of Thriller Bark. Remember where like Kuma came and was like, I'm just making sure you're not going to lose, basically to Moria. So I like that.
Fathers talking to each other.
Yeah, like, and also Kuma pawed away Perona, which is like he was protecting Moria's daughter the whole time. You could say like that was like the first one he pawed away. So you could almost read it as like, I'm not letting another pink-haired little girl get in trouble. You know, I'm gonna save her right now. I'm gonna send her to Mihawk. I'm gonna send her to the world's strongest swordsman on this scary island. I'm sure she'll be all right.
Yeah, it's crazy how much trust he has in Mihawk too, right?
Yeah.
Like he must know that Mihawk's like a really good guy. He's like, yeah, he's not gonna hurt a little girl.
Which that's like a whole other thing I want to think about now, man. Maybe Mihawk and Kuma have a connection going to the past, which I don't know where that would fit in. Other
Maybe
than them
they
just
both
being
like saw
warlords.
each other in church, like Sunday mass or something.
Like maybe Kuma needed a new church to pray at, and he just like walked up to Mihawk's, and they just like, maybe they're totally different religions, like literally opposite. Like Nika is kind of like God and Jesus, and Mihawk's like vampire-esque. So maybe they have like totally different gods that they're talking about, but like they found peace over that or something, or like.
Yeah, Kuma gave him the cross necklace, maybe.
That wouldn't that be a cool connection? That would
be really nice. That's like an SBS thing too, like a small detail that doesn't matter, but it's like you nod your head and you're like, that's cool.
And
thank you, Oda.
And I'm also just thinking Kuma gave Zoro the pain bubble, and that's kind of like a whole Mihawk connection in a way there too, because like Zoro got stronger because of that, or like got even more motivation to become stronger because of that, you could say too. Which like you know, he went to Mihawk. I like that. That's actually really cool.
Man, thinking of more pink-haired characters, there's also, I don't know why, I mean, obviously it could just be the world of One Piece, but there's so many pink-haired orphans. Like, another one would be Kobe, right?
Kobe, yeah.
Yeah.
If Kobe...
Maybe Kobe hops in there somewhere.
I gotta be honest, I gotta put up a huge indestructible wall on the no Kobe important beginnings for me. I'd be very upset. Only because that's his whole thing, is he's literally like started from the bottom. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
So I just feel like if they threw in like, oh, Kobe's actually like child of a celestial or child of this important figure, and he got abandoned, then at that point it'd be like, Kobe's like the one guy Jenner. I don't want that, I guess. But
yeah.
Wait, Kobe's like Kylie Jenner?
Yeah. You don't want him to be like Kylie Jenner, where they're like, oh, it's the first woman billionaire, self-made, and it's like, whoa, that's crazy. And then you realize their family's like super rich, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's exact. I thought you were saying like I wanted Kobe to be like Kylie Jenner. I was be like,
oh no.
I think I'm saying the opposite. No, but yeah, you're right.
I want him to be a retail worker.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I want Kobe to literally
just one of us.
I want his. Now, maybe a cool thing, I doubt this would happen. Maybe a cool thing could be like his parents are celestial dragons, but they're another Don Quixote homing that left. maybe, and so like they were.
Oh, another loser, right?
Yeah, like they were just cast aside, and like people don't even know they're celestial dragons because maybe it's been a couple generations since they left, and so Kobe
Yeah, they probably look ugly too. They probably look like homing and not like St. Charlos, which is sad.
they probably look like that one
Hurt.
Kobe face, like when Kobe was like yelling at Akainu and he had like that really like detailed, like different looking face when he was upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably all look like that or something, but constantly. Like his face,
that'd be cursed.
like that's the reason why he looked that way in that moment. Like his hockey bloomed. It was actually like a Denjiro moment. You know, when Denjiro got really mad and his face just transformed.
Rage transforms you.
Yeah, which that, if that's the only time Oda does it, that's fine. But I hate that he did that only because now whenever like it's like, oh, this person could actually be this person, but they just changed their face, and I'm like,
oh my god,
I don't want that. I don't want it. You know.
Rox is here, guys. He just looks like Rayleigh. Just believe it or not, it's a clone.
You know Par's Rox is stronger theory? It's not that...
No.
Oh, you've never heard Rox is stronger?
So funny enough, I normally try to stay away from like big theories like that.
Okay. Well...
Oh, wait, Rox is stronger. Sorry. I thought you meant like Rox is like a strong character, like power scaling. No, Rox is stronger. I was there for the birth of that one, actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe that was actually just, like, we think it's the Pegasus fruit, but maybe it was actually Rox at God Valley just got so angry that he just turned into a horse. And then now he got the Pegasus fruit to throw us off.
Man, that would be insane. He's been. I mean, that's an anime trope, though, right? Like the main bad guy's hiding in the background as like a side character, like a like a main protagonist, like the what is it called when like a guy's like super powerful out of nowhere? Gary Stu. So the Gary Stu's chilling as an animal.
I think that's it, or something like that.
Yeah, Mary Sue and then Gary Stu.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, because I know Mary Sue is the the female who can do no wrong kind of thing, right? It's like perfect.
Yeah.
And then I think the opposite. It's something that rhymes. I think it's Gary Stu. I think you're right.
I don't know who came up with that.
I don't know either,
Who's
but
the
they
Gary
stuck
Stu?
around. I don't know. There's all the Gary Stews are probably mad about this. That like their name just gets slandered.
Hate to see it.
So real quick, I want to get to another super chat from my guy Brandon King with the $2. I appreciate you, bro. Sun gem equal ruby. So that's it, because like the sapphire gem is Saturn. I know people have been saying that a lot. Momo awakening equals ruby dragon. Now that would actually be pretty dope.
Cool.
Like, it would be so cool if Kaido and Momo both awaken, but for some reason Momo's is stronger. Because like. So I'm using my RuneScape brain here, because this may not be actual truth, but in RuneScape, Sapphire is the weakest gem, okay? So I don't know if that is like a common thing. I don't know if that's actual, that Sapphires are weak compared to like Emeralds and Rubies. Obviously Diamonds are like top tier. I think that's pretty commonly known.
Yeah, it's like understood.
So I would like that maybe just Kaido is like the weakest version, and maybe that's part of what the Celestial Dragons like wanted the fruit for, is like, even though this fruit's form is weaker than us, we still don't want anyone getting near it, kind of thing. Like, you know, like whoever awakens this fruit gets a taste of what we can actually do, kind of feel, right? But then I would like it if Momo's was like a higher quality one, and then that makes the whole Guernica thing like 5 times as ironic, because he was like, I'm so glad it was a failure. If it was a success, we would have taken it. But it's actually better. It's like a better version of Kaido's.
I would say it has a lot of potential. I mean, have you watched like the latest anime episodes?
I haven't. I saw the very last one. I think I missed the 2 before that, but I did want to see the Cross Guild stuff.
Yeah, no, there was like a scene where Momo, like, you know when he shoots the bolo breath? I don't know why I was like afraid of spoiling. I was like, oh no, like I don't want to spoil the anime. You know, he just reads the manga. Oh god.
No. I think I know the events.
Yeah. When Momo shoots his first bolo breath, it has this like weird Kamehameha bending effect to it, and I was like, I haven't seen Kaido do that. Like maybe Momo has different abilities, or maybe that's just like his maybe that's just the anime's interpretation of Momo's bolo breath in general. But I thought it was interesting because like Momo was like bending it a little bit, and it was like swirling around. It didn't exactly pierce Green Bull right away. And I was like, okay, like,
that's crazy. Like, Kaido definitely didn't do that. He just shot straight laser beams, essentially.
Yeah, like straight nukes, man.
Yeah, like I remember at the beginning of the arc, like he blew up like the mountain for like no reason. Like I think they said that like people were hiding there, but he didn't actually see anyone. He's just like, okay, I'll just blow up the mountain. And like,
Yeah, Odin Castle.
yeah, um, I like that idea, Brandon King. I like that a lot. I'm all for Momo hype. Like at any moment, that's one of my favorite characters in the story, honestly.
He has so much potential.
Uh, and just like there's like so many cool moments where like just the fact like an 8-year-old kid who's like he's not only been through a lot, but he has like immense expectations because his dad was like the most Chad person ever born, basically. And so he's like trying to live up to that, and then like
Man, the one thing I can't get over with his dad is when they say that his what is it like? Momo looks just like his father. I'm like, no way. Like, stop
Yeah.
saying that.
Well,
They're like, oh, Momo, you look just like Lord Odin. It's like, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have black hair, but that's pretty much it. Like, come on.
we got two different scenes of that. Like right when he turned old, and Shinobu was like crying, and she didn't even finish the sentence. She's like, "You look just like," and that was it. Like she couldn't even say it.
Yeah.
And then in Wano, in the last episode, we got Sukiyaki crying, saying like, "You look just like Odin," and I'm like, he
My
doesn't
brother,
look enough
get your
like
eyes
Odin
checked.
to act like that. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
They're related, but like, it's not one to one. We didn't clone this man. I don't know.
and I'll be honest, like maybe if you took off Odin's makeup and had their hair, like took off the hat thing, or I don't know if that's actually a
Yeah.
hat or if he's styling his hair into
I
a
think
hat.
it's hair.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's got to be hair.
kind of like Kuma's ears. I think are hair, like the bear ears. You know what I'm talking about? Like how he has bear ears
Yeah.
sometimes. Like he didn't right when he got the fruit, but then he has them like later. I think it's just
People
hair.
are so confused about that. They're like, wait, is it a hat or is it hair? It's like, dude, I think it's hair. I don't know.
It's got to be hair, or else it doesn't make any sense. Because we saw him without
Yeah.
the hat, and he had the ears, and we saw him right after he got the fruit, and he didn't have the ears. So it just had to be a stylistic choice, which I approve of. I like it.
Yeah.
Also,
like big brother.
did you see in the last chapter that there was like the teddy bear in the corner with
Yes.
with his hat? Like he wasn't wearing his hat, but the teddy bear had the hat on.
Yeah, when he was reading the book to Bonnie, right?
Yes, and that.
Yeah.
So I
that's
think we
cute.
can presume that becomes his hat. Like he's probably like after this whole Bonnie
Oh
thing.
no,
he took it.
no, my heart.
Because
Yeah,
it's also
Bonnie's favorite bear.
that's what I was about to say. It's probably like her favorite toy, and he's like,
Oh man.
he's like Kuma, like his name already ties to a bear, right? So it's like that's so sad. Oda was cooking last chapter.
He was. Dude, all the callbacks to like Kuma's character up until this point is insane. Like
Yep.
pretty much anything Kuma related was explained in this backstory. Like why he says certain things, why he acts a certain way, his ties to this character. It's like, what the hell? Like Oda's, this is the one time in the series where I'm like genuinely impressed. I'm like, wow, like Oda did a really good job here.
Yeah, like, so I'm a pretty big critic of how Wano ended. I don't know how you feel about
yeah.
it, but I gotta say, and it's still an issue because, like I always say, like, yes, obviously you can improve it later on by giving new info later in arcs, but you also have to judge the arc for what it was in and of itself sometimes. So, like, I have some issues with how it ended. But if the reason Oda hurried up was because we're gonna get all this awesome stuff with Kuma, then it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, because this Kuma stuff. The Kuma stuff, Egghead, all this God Valley flashback stuff, the Reverie, like all this is like literal peak material from Oda. And this has been like the last, I mean, Egghead has been fire for like 40 plus chapters at this point. Or well, 38, I don't know, something like that chapters.
Something around there.
But lately
No,
in
I
particular,
agree.
it's been crazy.
I mean, like Wano had so much potential too, which is the sad part, right? Like Wano was great. It was fun while we were there, but I feel like the potential events for just Onigashima and even post Wano, like there were a lot of moments that they could have expanded on, but I think Oda just didn't have time to do it for whatever reason. And that's just really unfortunate.
And so I keep seeing people talk about this. What's that?
Oh, I said I still have Wano, but
Okay. Yeah. The Wano's still good to great. Like it's still an above average arc. I just felt like it had everything it needed to be the best one ever. And I felt like I don't know what it was. I don't know if it took too long. I don't know if Oda, just didn't give enough.
He got Wano fatigue.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have to get into that whole thing. That might be a whole different stream. Maybe I should get all the people who have the same issues as me and get them on one stream, like just a big echo chamber.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do the same thing, but I love that we admit it. We're like, yeah, let's get the echo chamber in here. We need to justify our opinions
Yeah,
with
exactly.
each other.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that.
Yeah, if we all agree, then I mean we're right. You know, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah. But you know, if well, okay, actually, I want to ask this, and I don't know if anybody even knows this answer, but it's just I've seen people bring it up on Twitter. So we're supposed to have like a filler episode this week in the anime,
Yes.
but it's like a real episode because like it's not like a filler like the specials, right? It's like an actual episode of Wano events.
Not
but
Bartos Club Room.
And I keep hearing people say if Zoro visits Ryuma's grave in this episode, they're gonna flip. Like we don't have any idea what's actually happening right yet. Like that's not.
Yeah, we have
that's
no idea.
speculation.
All we know is that Zoro and Hiyori are in the bamboo forest, which I mean, I could see a grave there. You know,
If I'm gonna be pretty mad if that happens. I'm gonna be. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be real upsetting for me. I don't want that. But I mean, I'm glad we're gonna see it. But the fact that because if they show it in the anime, what that means is it happened, but Oda didn't show us or even give us a hint for it. Which it's like, you know, Zoro gave up Shusui to go to that grave, so it'd be a little iffy to like completely avoid it in the manga, but then go do it in the anime. So then we have to sit there like, okay, it did happen, but like Oda didn't care enough to show us. You know, I don't know. And also we got Zoro's whole backstory in an SPS. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, imagine if they reveal Zoro's lineage in the episode as well. That would be kind of nuts.
That would be cool. I'm okay with that. That would be really good. And that would be, and if they're talking in a bamboo forest, that would make sense.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
And also, shout out to Joy Boy Theories.
Yes.
Welcome in, man.
Yeah, JB, appreciate you sliding in. I saw a couple chats from you. I saw them and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about those. But I was like, wait, maybe I should get through the super chats first, and then.
Yeah.
But now there's too many. So JB, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for sliding in.
Running behind.
JB, how do you feel about Wano? I don't know if we talked about that very much. I don't know. But all right, real quick, I'm going to get through the rest of these super chats just so we can get caught up here. Mr. Bushido again with the $2 or €2. I appreciate you. Akainu tried to stop Green Bull, but he didn't listen. I remember that, but like before Green Bull even left, I guess I just want to know the context behind that, because Kizaru was like in the office, like, should I go? No. And then did Green Bull just literally like leave without any word, or was it like I don't know, like, hey, you can go towards it, but wait, like I'll call you and let you know for sure, because that seems to be what it was to me, because it's like,
yeah,
he was like approaching and they called and were like, don't do anything brash, and like Green Bull's like, yeah, and, like didn't listen. So it felt to me like he was allowed to go, but he wasn't supposed to do what he did there. Basically, that's how at least I felt. But either way,
I imagine like a smoke break. He's like, hey guys, let me go take one outside real quick, and then he just never comes back home.
I could see that too.
Just disappears.
Actually, and also just real quick, I want to say, Green Bull might be an interesting connection to the Sapphire scale, maybe in like some, maybe like metaphorical way, because he talked about how he hasn't eaten in 3 years. Like he probably just photosynthesizes because he's like a forest man. At least that's still the presumption, I think. And so the Sapphire scales, they grow bigger with the sun, which like plants do, right? Like that's exactly how plants work.
Oh, you're right.
And so now I'm thinking back to your idea with the trees, and that's like even better. It's just like, like that, the idea, like plants grow with it, and like Emu's in the flower room, Sunlight Tree Eve, that would grow with light. Like there's a lot of cool connections right there.
It's that damn tree, man. I swear. You can't trust them. Buy Weed Killer.
And that's what they needed in Shandora, but they heard about the what company is it? They heard about the Roundup scandal, where like Roundup was like giving cancer, and they didn't like disclose that, so people used it, and I can't remember exactly, but huge deal a couple of years ago with Roundup. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so same thing. That's what they thought was happening in Shandora. I don't buy Roundup. Even though like they supposedly fixed it, I don't buy it just because I don't really buy herbicide in general, but they
hit it for so long.
Yeah, it's just I just don't want those people to get money anymore. Like that's really all it is.
They gave us cancer.
Mr. Bushido. Yeah, I don't like anyone who does that, especially when they make money doing it.
I don't like people who weaponize cancer.
I feel like
very
that's a
hot
safe.
take.
I hope that's a
Yeah.
safe take. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Pink is a very rare sapphire color. So I have heard that. So blue is the most common sapphire color, right? I feel like that's. Am I not?
Yes.
So I feel like if Oda called it that, he's gonna go with like the most like I hope there's just more gems. That's kind of my goal. Is like we have sapphire scale right here, but I'm hoping we get. I mean, like Brandon King brought up like maybe the Momo one where he's like maybe Momo can be the pink sapphire because he's cheating because he's like the wrong color, right? So it's like a totally. He's like modeled after the sapphire one, but the wrong color. So I could see that. But then I hope beyond that, like other celestial dragons, I hope we get like an emerald one. We already heard about an emerald city, remember? So I hope we get an emerald one. I would love a ruby one. Diamond seems like a lock to me. And, you know, I'm going to use my RuneScape brain again. They also have a better gem than Diamond called Dragon Stone, which is interesting. Not that Oda's going to steal it, but that is like it's just crazy that it was called that. So maybe there's going to be like a one-pieceified gem. Well, actually, hold on. I just thought of something crazy. I can't believe I didn't think about this before. We saw in Egghead that Vegapunk is like duplicating gems, like treasure and money. Remember that? And he's also duplicating organs and all that. But the fact he has the gems, I feel like that's crazy. And what I thought was really crazy for a long time was the fact that, like, we had the crown jewel of Hachinosu. And I was like, oh, a jewel? Like, that's gotta matter. Like, that's gotta connect to all this. But it's not, like, crown jewel is not at all what it should have been worded. It's just the word for treasure. Like, there's no jewel aspect to it. So
yeah, especially if it's a devil fruit too. There's no way.
Yeah, because I was thinking jewel, and now we have, you know, jewelry Bonnie, and we have sapphire disease. Like, there's got to be something, but nope, that was not. That was complete serendipity. And now we're all
speculating on like ruby and diamonds, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna have to become gem experts now.
Yeah, I don't even know. Well, and also, I think another cool layer to this, too, is that, you know, gems are supposed to be really tough, right? Like, hard to break. Like, diamond's, like, the hardest material or whatever. Yeah. But we also have the poneglyphs, which are indestructible, right? Like, they're similar, that they're rocks that are really hard. So I don't know if that's something. Like, what if...
The One Piece world equivalent to obsidian in Minecraft.
Yeah. And what... And so, Randy Troy and I have this theory about, basically... Joy Boy was turned to stone, and he is the poneglyphs. Basically, is the short version of that. And now I'm wondering, it could be a similar thing, but what if instead of being turned to stone, like with the Mero Mero no Mi, what if this sapphire disease? What if there are forms of it for other gems and stones or whatever, and the poneglyph version is one of them? Like, somebody got poneglyph disease, or I guess you could call it, and that's where it comes from.
that would suck. You turn into a poneglyph, and then people start carving you.
Well, dude,
that's a curse.
Well, think about Roger going to Skypiea. He heard a voice from the rock. Like,
yeah,
is someone inside?
Kicked in, and he was like, "Yo, like, there's a poneglyph here, man." Like, how does that even work? Like, just talking to a rock? Like, no, dude.
It's got to be a person. It's got to be part of a person. And that's actually
a person, or Roger's a schizo.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, the voice of all things was going a little haywire towards the end of his career there. All right, I keep seeing a few more super chats get in. I just want to get caught up real quick, so we're gonna fly through some of these. I mean, I'm the one taking forever. It's my fault, but Mr. Bushido with the €5. Thank you, sir. Bonnie is a clone of the real Bonnie. Kuma took her soul and memories and switched them. That's why Vegapunk was explaining the weight of souls. So honestly, the fact that Bonnie has the ring where the sapphires would be, like, on her face, makes me think it has to still be her, because, like, that's just like a sign. Like, because if it was a different Bonnie body, like, I don't know why they would feel, you know, the need to do that or whatever. But I do kind of like the idea that Bonnie was kind of like, you know, the distorted future thing where she gets like real big, she looks like Buccaneer. I do kind of like the idea that they gave her the fruit and she was able to go into like a different timeline where she's not sick, if that makes sense.
No, I like that too. I feel like it makes a lot of sense for Bonnie's devil fruit to be her cure, since that's how Law was cured of Amber Lead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just that parallel.
And the fact that she's 10, and I think, was it Brandon King, or no, was it Lonely Mage? I think you said it earlier. Whoever it was, that, you know, Bonnie was 10 in the pre-time skip, like when, you know, like Luffy got started and everything. Like that's when she was supposed to be dead, and so it's like that could be a cool little tie where, like you're saying with the fruit, like she, you know, skipped the 10th birthday that she was supposed to have, and instead got, you know, a healthy one, I guess. Like she went to like a different timeline or whatever. So I like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. What makes me sad about a lot of this, though, is I really liked a lot of the, I don't know how we would have done it, but some connection with Bonnie and Big Mom. But that's not going to happen anymore, apparently. That was
a huge theory back in the day.
Yep, I know.
Oh, man.
She's the glutton and pink hair. You know, it was all there. And also...
It was all there. And then Big Mom loves to, you know, she loves to pop them out, as one would say.
And
so it kind of made sense.
And one of my favorite theories, I don't know if you've heard of this before, but I feel like you'll like it, is, you know, her first kid is Sparrow, who also has a very long tongue, like Mr. Vegapunk. And,
no.
And I don't know if there was some exchanging of DNA that may have occurred back then when Vegapunk was 15. Vegapunk was 15 when Sparrow was born. So, you know, I don't know where it's going, but it scares me. That's all.
It's a scary mindset, to say the least. I mean, and then when you bring up Streusen and how that might be Sparrow's father, and it's wild.
Please no.
Oh God, Streusen, why?
Streusen is the most sus character in all of One Piece for me, like by far.
Yeah, people are talking about Blackbeard, like, hey, like, how's it going, girl? Like, you want to be mine? Like, Blackbeard, you know, I'll vouch. The guy probably didn't know. Like, he doesn't know the Carfax of Bonnie.
And Bonnie was 24 at the time.
24. Yeah.
We
all thought she was 24 until this chapter. Like, he didn't know the backstory.
Yeah.
But Streusen, oh man. Oh God.
Like guy. Like the whole like she said she was 18 thing, like for Bonnie, that's like the most true of all time, because it's like she literally was 24, officer, I promise. Like literally, you know, like literally.
Yeah. She changed her age. She has a pirate crew.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, like it's still like obviously Oda's trying to make it seem, you know, iffy. Like that's kind of he wants us to lean that way, but I think legit. Like, and here's also the thing. I know you know this very well. Look, Blackbeard, he can be a weirdo, but you know who the real weirdo is Vasco. Vasco, it doesn't matter what age Bonnie was, Vasco would have been on it. Vasco's a weirdo. So,
and it's hard because I'm a part of the Vasco Shot fan club too.
I know, I've heard.
It's a rough one.
Fighting
allegations for Vasco Shot. It's rough. It's rough.
I think in our one group chat with Zonin, or no wait, maybe it was the Psyvision Sake one. I can't remember. One of the group chats we're in, I kept sending that Parvision Vasco, the Par Vasco sauce image.
Yeah, because he loves him too.
Yeah, that's so funny, man. Vasco can't escape the hate. It's impossible.
Like the One Piece version of Amber Heard. Like it's hard sticking up for the guy.
Yeah,
like there's so much evidence against him.
I just wouldn't. Like Blackbeard, maybe you can defend him, you know, because the age was kind of hidden. But there's no defending Vasco, you know, at this point.
Yeah, Vasco goes after any woman he sees.
Yeah, taking him to Amazon Lily was a terrible call for Blackbeard. It was terrible.
Do you think he was begging Blackbeard to go to Amazon Lily?
Yes.
Like on his hands and knees.
I want to see a flashback where Blackbeard sets up the teams and like it's almost like Sanji. Like we can see Vasco over there begging, like, no, please teach. Please, Captain.
I'll do anything.
Commodore, please. I think that's what they call him, is Commodore.
And then we have like
Admiral.
that Roger music, dun 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 dun, and then he starts telling us his dream. Oh man, this is why I joined.
I would love a scene where we get all of the Blackbeard's pirates' dreams, though. That would be really, or their agendas.
Yeah. I feel like we need it.
Yeah.
We need it.
I definitely do, because like if Vasco says any creepy stuff, I'm done.
He has to, right? Like, come
will.
on. He wasn't impelled down. They wanted to erase him from history. Like, nah, his internet history must be crazy. Like some FBI exclusive type stuff, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
His one of like on his will, like he's probably already told some of his friends, like, if I ever die, just delete my internet search history, like immediately. That's the one thing I need you to do. Don't come to my funeral. You don't have to do anything. Just delete my search history.
Yeah.
But
I hate to be a Vasco fan today.
Yeah, but it is ironic though, because I think a lot of the Blackbeard pirates' dreams will be positive. It's just they're looking at it in the wrong way, which is a very typical thing in One Piece. Like Big Mom is like one of the most typical examples. Like in my last video, I talked about San Juan Wolf and how he might be, he might have a connection to Tequila Wolf, and maybe his dream is like, I want to free the slaves at Tequila Wolf, or I want to free all the slaves,
It's
or
such
something.
a wholesome dream.
Right, and it seems so
Love that.
wholesome, but maybe like the way he's going about it is really bad, right? And that would be like him and
Yeah.
I think he's gonna fight Robin. I don't know if you want to hear
Like
about
his
that,
answer
but-
is genocide.
yeah, like I'm just gonna go step on the bridge and like destroy it. And it's like, no, you can't do that because then they're all gonna die. Because he's big enough to do that, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Because part of my
I feel like
theory,
he has some connection to ores. Sorry to interrupt.
oh no, you're good. That would be cool too. I think, like in my video, I talked about the idea that maybe San Juan was like not born at Tequila Wolf, but he got like enslaved there or whatever, and then he got his fruit while he was at Tequila Wolf, and then he just walked away because he's so big. He doesn't need a ship. He can just walk away
Like,
from
I
Tequila
can't
Wolf.
be here, guys.
Like, I don't like being a slave. I'm getting out of here. And then maybe like everyone's like, take me with you, and maybe like he couldn't. I don't know, for some reason, but
Yeah, I gotta say, man, he'd be a really good slave since he's a giant.
that's yep.
He gets work done, bro. Like that bridge would have been done by now if he was still there.
And imagine if they gave him the huge fruit so they could use him more. Like, oh, if we can get a giant that can stand in the water, like that's gonna help us so much. Like, you know, because like
Zoe.
yeah, like we're gonna be able to like build, you know, the parts that are in the ocean easier because he can like hold it while we bolt it down or something. I don't know. So I like that a lot, but as for all the Blackbeard dreams, I hope they all have like something positive, but it's just they're just doing it the worst way possible. That's kind of,
Yeah.
it's like my head
It could
canon.
be like the opposite of the Straw Hat dreams. Like, you know how
Yep.
like Nami wants to like chart the entire world? Maybe there's one who doesn't want to chart at all.
Yeah,
Or
they
like,
don't want any
not
maps.
find the all blue. Yeah,
But-
no maps. I hate maps. Please get them out.
Which I don't know. I don't even know
That'd
who
be
that would
hilarious.
be, but
Like the
Yeah.
antithesis of their dreams.
or something I talked about in my Usopp and Van Augur video is, you know how like Usopp, like in Water 7, Usopp wanted to keep the Mary. Well,
Yeah.
and they didn't, right? Like he wanted to keep the Mary, but they got rid of it. Well, what if Augur?
God.
What if Augur wanted to get rid of the Saber of Zebek, but then they kept it? And that's why we haven't seen it at all. We know that's their ship, but we haven't seen it one time. So what if it's mostly destroyed, and they're trying to wait for a way to fix it? And so Augur has been probably saying this whole time, like, we gotta just get rid of it. Who cares about this broken ship? Like the complete opposite of Usopp, like, you know, tying.
I would love that because that's where I'm at, man. Get rid of the Mary. I never liked that ship.
Whoa, I mean, it made sense, but
Sorry for the Mary slander. It's logical. It's logical, you know. Like the ship's dying, you can't save it. Just let's dump it, dude.
What's ironic though is I feel like if Vegapunk was around, they could have fixed it. But
Oh yeah,
you know.
well that's a different beast, right? Like this man can steal everyone's job, right? Like he cured
Yeah.
something Chopper couldn't. He's making robots Frankie can't. Like that he's making food like Sanji through a vending machine. Like
That's
Vegapunk is
true.
different.
That's true. He is
he
built
would be a
different, like literally
crewmate
though.
replacer.
Yeah, he's
That's
like.
why I don't think he's gonna join the crew.
I
officially.
hope we get Punk Records, but not him. Like,
Same.
'cause
Like
then-
it's our version of Roger's egg.
that's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you could also make the argument where like Frankie could tap into the knowledge to learn stuff while he's just sailing around, right? So he learns stuff constantly while like they're you know doing stuff, and then also it
Oh,
controls
yeah.
weather. So Nami, she already does weather stuff like eggs and. So, like, it was like an aircon under Egghead that was supposed to control the weather, but regardless, they'll find some way to make it work. Well, actually, yeah, the egg would need to be sitting on something, and it's sitting on clouds right now, so maybe they'll just bring the cloud maker and the aircon with Egghead.
Or like Zeus like ties it over or something with a cloud of his own.
Ooh, I like that.
Have you watched Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Oh, of course. Oh, great
Dude,
show.
Vegapunk's
Return to Slab.
Punk Hazard. It could be like the PC that Courage goes
Oh,
to for
yeah.
information.
And
Like
it
he's just like, guys, how do we beat this guy? Quick, go to the PC. Go to Punk Records. We'll find out.
Punkrecords.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
have to get a
computer's so
website name.
funny because it's just like, it's like Chat GPT before it existed. Like that's like kind of what it is because it's like literally just like a screen and he just types just, hey, what? Just this super specific question, you know, like, and then the guy starts speaking back to him like steps, like, have you tried this? Have you tried this? It's like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
How do we beat a logo user without hockey? I gotta know.
Yeah. But yeah, whenever I hear courage, the first thing I think of every time is return the slab. Every time.
That's horrifying.
Return the slab. That's probably
That scared me as a kid.
That's what Emu is probably saying about the poneglyphs. Return the slabs.
Return the slabs.
All right, I said it a few times, but I mean it this time. I'm gonna get through these super chats so I can actually get caught up.
We got this.
Everyone.
People keep on super chatting too, so it's
I know
like
that's
you're working against a running man essentially.
That's
You're trying to
exactly
catch up in
it.
a marathon.
That's exactly it. Like, I'm on like a treadmill with like the hot dog or banana in front of me or whatever. You know what I mean? I just keep running.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Bushido, €2. Momo doesn't look like his dad. No white mustache. Do you mean? Are you saying Whitebeard's his dad? I thought at first I was like Sukiyaki because he has white hair. You're talking about Whitebeard. Look, Chad. Look, Whitebeard's a Chad, but look, we're not talking. He didn't bag Toki. If that's what you're. I remember hearing that.
Toki's loyal.
I remember hearing that, but yeah.
Wait, that's a theory that Whitebeard and Toki are together?
That was like a joking theory back in the day that I remember hearing that happened, but no, please no. I hope she's loyal.
No, it would change the manga even more, right? Like maybe Whitebeard's like, I'll let Odin be a part of my crew if you be my woman. Like we don't need that. We really don't need that in the story.
We don't.
It's a funny theory though.
Yeah, it is funny. It's definitely funny. I'm glad that the theory exists, but not because it's true.
Funny,
because it's funny,
but not funny. Ooh, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, JB, I saw you respond to our Wano questions. I'm sorry I'm so far behind. But you said you think it's going to go down as top 5. I agree that it'll go down as top 5. Maybe not consensus because that would require me agreeing. But I agree that as part of the community, I agree that it'll be considered that for sure. And you said you've been holding back on being negative about the end of it. It is what it is. What we're getting is incredible. We can definitely agree on that. It is. It's done and over with now, so it is what it is. But everything now is amazing.
He's making up for it.
Yeah, more like, he is making up for it, and I say that a little lightly just because it's like how much you can only make up for it so much, right? Like within the arc itself, you have to deliver to a certain degree. But I mean, now it's peak. All right, my guy, Baby Pluton, Baby Mole, with the $5 super chat. Can't believe that Dax is collabing with the head of the Vasco Shot fan club. Happy to catch the stream. Well, that's why.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
that's why we did it. I had to get him in here. We were talking earlier about echo chambers, and I didn't want this to be an echo chamber to talk bad about Vasco. We got to hear the other side. I'm sure he has a good reason.
He's a cool character. I think deep down he's a really nice guy. He's like the we were talking about antithesis of the Straw Hats. He'd be like Sanji's opposite, right? Like they both have fire techniques, like they both love women, but to a different extent. Mm-hmm. Like something there.
And that's actually why I think he's gonna fight Brook, because Brook also shares that the pervertedness with Sanji, maybe even worse to a degree because of the panty questions. You know what I mean? And so
at least Brook asked, right? Vasco Shot, he's a go-getter.
He's not asking.
In the nicest way possible, he's a go-getter.
And also it would be fire versus ice against and also like the booze factor, like Brook is the one who sang Bink Sake, so to face the sake fruit guy or whatever, really booze fruit, whatever it is, but mainly that
the glug.
Yep. It is sake. He's catching it on fire, or you know what I mean. But
yeah.
So I think that would be cool because it could legitimately the idea of at least I ask first. I think that will be like a line in their fight. Like Vasco, your problem is you don't even ask or something just so dumb. And
we need that though. We need that comedy in One Piece, or else it wouldn't be One Piece.
Yeah, I mean, Oda with the last chapter, he clearly doesn't. He's not going to hold back anymore, even with the really dark topics that he hasn't covered that much. You think about going back to Dressrosa with Doflamingo and Viola. He basically implied that there was a relationship there of sorts.
Passionate relationship.
Yep. And that is kind of what we just saw now with Ginny and another celestial dragon, because Doflamingo is kind of one of those. So I think, these really dark topics, I don't think Oda's going to be shying away from those going forward. So Vasco and Brooke, I definitely think that could come up. Like Vasco being a complete weirdo and Brooke also being weird, but he's nice about it, or semi-nice.
He's chivalrous.
Yeah, there you go. And also, big, major shout out to my guy, Vex. Vex, I'm so sorry I'm late on these 5 gifted memberships. I'm late on everything, but I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, Sexy Vexy. Welcome, Dow and Tiante, my guy, D, Sungjin Woo, and Jose. I appreciate you guys. Welcome to the club. Vex, thank you. Did you gift earlier? We got so many chats I can't see them anymore, but I feel like, and you just gifted again. Okay, that's what I'm. Yeah. Man, you've been all over this, Vex. I appreciate you, man. Dax X Sake collab is fire. Like D stream and sub to Redacted. Yes, please, everyone. I have a second channel called Redacted where I do weekly chapter reviews. I have the link in the description. It's pretty close to the top if you want to click that. I drop a chapter review like the next day after a chapter drops every week. And they're getting better. I feel like they're getting like longer and
channel name.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone go check that out. And also, Vex, you saw you super chatted $2 earlier with nothing on it. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Vex.
Vex, see, Vex, I appreciate that because Vex is giving back because Vex wins big every time I do a card giveaway. He got the Alt Art Mihawk card, which was like it was one of the top cards from Romance Dawn, the first set. How much is it now? I'm gonna double check. Like $40, $50, I think, still something like that.
I like to imagine it's all rigged.
Yeah, like even though I have it right in front. Actually, I'm wrong. That card is $80 now, Vex. My bad.
Oh wow.
When you got it, it was $40, and then like a week later, it went up to $80. So there you go. But either way, I appreciate you for giving back, man. Thank you so much. And then 00, I think that's how you say your name. I appreciate you, man, with the $5. Sai/Dak, love to see it. Just got home, gonna start the stream up while I play some OSRS. Are you pumped for Trailblazer League tomorrow, man? I need to know. I am super pumped for that. So, let me know what regions you're picking if you're still here in the chat. I really want to know because I was just debating that like 2 minutes before the stream started. So
that's so funny. I don't want to dox you, but every time I go on Discord and I look at your profile or anything, or like it pops up.
Yep.
Because you're playing RuneScape. Yeah, RuneLight.
Yep.
That's all it says. 24/7.
So, and if you look at it, it'll almost always say main menu, like 8 hours. Because basically what happens is I open Discord, I open RuneLight, and then I'll start working and I'll get on RuneLight like whenever like I'm bored for a second or I'm doing something that I can AFK on the game while I'm working. But most of the time it just sits there not logged in. And so people tell me that like, dude, you're on all the time, and I'm like, the app is open all the time. I play.
He's doing this to me.
Yeah, I play maybe an hour a day at this point. I don't really play that much at this time. But starting tomorrow with Trailblazer League, that's going to be something. And 00, you also said, when are we getting the OSRS stream? That is a really good question. Because I do want to do that more, because I am doing raids like all the time now, actually. Well, not all the time, but whenever I do get on, I'm doing raids. So I don't know, maybe with Trailblazer League I'll do a little bit. I definitely want to. Do you know my Pluton theory, Sai? The Pluton is a mole?
Pluton is a mole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in RuneScape there's a giant mole that you can hunt, and so I did a stream before hunting Pluton. And it's really easy to kill. It's like the easiest boss in the game. So I was just murking him over and over, but
I love that.
I did not get the mole.
Well, it all ties back to One Piece.
Yeah, all of it does. And actually, Baby Pluton, if you're still here in the chat, Baby Mole, so whenever you kill bosses in RuneScape, you can get a pet, like a small version of the boss you're beating to follow you around. And the mole's pet is the Baby Mole. So that's you. So I was trying to have you follow me around in RuneScape, Baby Pluton. But I did fail, even after 1,000 kills. Kenneth Adams, the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, man. Do you think Robin's dad will come important? I'm so glad you asked that question. It was his research Olvia and co went out to sea for. Is he the man marked by flames? He could be a world government official. Oh, that's Kush. Oh, Kenneth, you're Kush Daddy? Hey, I appreciate you for sliding in, man. I know Kush Daddy from the Discord. We're always talking. I like your question about Robin's dad. I like that a lot. So I think, if you guys are familiar with the channel, I think Mass Deuce is going to be the man marked by flames. But I'll be honest, if I had a second guess, or one that I would be almost just as happy with, it's Robin's dad. Because that's, no disrespect to Saul, because I love Saul. But if Oda brought someone back from the dead, essentially, because he should have been dead, you know what I mean? If he brings him back and he's important enough to have the road poneglyph, the final one, that would be like a little bit much for me, because it's like, okay, he should be dead, but then even after he recovered, he went down to Fishman Island, somehow took the poneglyph, like all that kind of stuff. So that one's like a little bit much, but Robin's dad is a similar vein where it's like another O'Hara connection, and all that, but he's probably alive. So I like that idea, because he very well could have been out in the world this whole time. We don't know what alliances he has with anybody. The fact, if he inspired Olvia and O'Hara researchers, he's probably a good dude, and people probably respect him out in the world. So I like that one a lot. And he's also someone who, he could be really strong and, be strong enough to be on this ship and protect the poneglyph. We just don't know enough about him, but he could be. So that's why I like it. Because Saul, again, no disrespect, because, Giants are really strong, but it's just if he came back from the dead, went to Fishman Island, I don't know.
Yeah. I was about to say, Saul, I love the guy, but let me tell you, strength-wise, not really a vice admiral, so... that might be a hot take.
Wait, what do you mean?
Might be a hot take.
What do you mean?
Just strength-wise. If I were to power scale Saul out of nowhere...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's not looking too good.
Yeah, because he did, pick up that whole warship, which I always think about, oh, that's really impressive. But then again...
Don Krieg could do that.
Yeah, and vice admirals, other than Garp, obviously, because he doesn't count, really, in that regard, have been a little lackluster, in my opinion.
Yeah. I love them though. Best designs.
Yeah, the designs are great. Honestly, what feats do the vice admirals have? Strawberry led to Fisher Tiger's death. It's the one feat I can think of.
I don't know.
Really
They're just really cool though. I just wish we saw more of them. I don't know. I'm a Marine guy.
The designs are very cool. I that's probably the best part. I don't know if you call them this, but Chin-Chinatti. The chins.
Yeah. Cincinnati, yeah.
I say Chin-Chinatti, double chin, because
Chinchilla, Chinzilla,
Chinchilla.
There's so many good ones.
Yeah,
love that dude.
And the one that really throws me off though is the oars looking guy. Who is?
Oh, that? Him. Oh, he. I've been calling him Sailor Oars.
What? Why?
Because
it looks like oars.
If you look in one of the panels, so when we first saw him, he had a sword, right? The one VA with a sword when all 9 were introduced. But next time you see him, he has a Mahou Shoujo wand. Like a magical girl wand.
Really?
Yeah, yes. It's a small panel off to the side, but he's holding a wand. So I call him a Sailor Oars.
Do you know what what chapter that was?
It's been a while, but it was there, I promise.
It's got to be 1094
Go look and
or
it'll
something.
Be there. Which I was so confused about, because I was like,
crazy.
Wait, where did his sword go? What is going on? Does he whisk his sword away or something? Maybe he's like a Harry Potter character. He just controls the sword with his wand.
Does he unsheath the wand from inside the sword?
Or maybe that's the hilt. Dude.
Yeah.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Because I'm kind of thinking I don't know, one of I should say my favorite moments of Wano, but one of the funny moments of Wano that always stands out to me is when Who's Who is about to unsheath his sword, and it's just a little dagger. Yeah. So I want it to be something like that. We think he's about to pull out a badass sword, but then it's just actually a wand. He takes off the blade, and it's a wand. Or something.
Yeah, Zoro's about to fight this guy, and then he's like, "Oh yes, a swordsman," and then the dude rips out a wand. He's like, "Oh, no, what's going on here?"
That would be hilarious. Dudes? I would.
Is it just Mihawk out there? Who else is a swordsman?
Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Okay, I think I'm caught up on this. Oh no, I'm not. Oh yes, I am. I am caught up on the super chats. Okay, that's good. That is very good. So now I want to get into another topic, which I think has been floating around a lot, and I want to get your thoughts on it because it's just been
go for it.
Something I'm motivated to talk about. Is dragons in action throughout the series?
Oh man.
What are your thoughts in general on Dragon and how he didn't help Ginny? And obviously, I guess to the chat, before we continue, I just want to say, obviously, Oda's going to give us some reasoning for it and try to, okay it and make it seem reasonable that he did that, which
this guy.
Maybe there are reasons, but right now it's fair to look at that, I think, and be like, what's going on? So what do you think?
So where I'm at is that I understand why Dragon can't act, right? Like he's the leader of the RA. He's got things he's got to do. They're weak right now, like 16 years ago. Like it's not possible. Saving Ginny just isn't possible. And my headcanon is that he's trying to save Ginny actually.
Okay.
Because when we start the last chapter, it starts in Goa Kingdom, and that was 12 years ago. And 12 years ago is when a celestial dragon visited Goa Kingdom. So my headcanon is that Dragon's constantly looking for Ginny when they're not in Marie's Raw, of course, right? Like he doesn't want to attack the Holy Land, but when they're outside, he's probably looking for her.
Okay.
Because let's be real, why else would Dragon, Ivankov, and Kuma go to Goa Kingdom 12 years ago? Like Great Terminal happened, but did they know about that? It didn't really seem like it because Sabo was the one who said, "Hey guys, save these people," and then Dragon's like, what has the world come to?
That's a good
So
point.
it seemed like Sabo was the reason why he saved Goa Kingdom or Great Terminal. So other than that, why would Dragon come there? So my headcanon is that he wants to save Ginny, and that's why he was maybe checking out the celestial dragons who were stopping by. Because they did stay till that day. They stayed there until they showed up and then they left. So I'm cool with Dragon not taking action, but I just want more out of him personally. I wish that last chapter, maybe he flexed his information or his knowledge. You know, he was a former Marine. I was hoping he would say, "Hey guys, like I've been to Marie's Raw. They have a lot of fighters. We can't do this." Or maybe he even dropped some Holy Knight info saying, "Hey, you know, Garling and the boys are there, right? Like the 8 or 9 Holy Knights in my little flashback. They're over there, and we can't do anything right now." Like, or maybe we even have this classic anime moment where Kuma's like, "Let me go, Dragon. I wanna go save Ginny." And then Dragon's like, "No, Kuma, we have to hold back." And then you see Dragon, he's like gripping his arm or something, you know, like showing a little bit of regret. I just wish that this chapter had one page of Dragon Kuma interaction where Dragon is very logical. He's flexing, he's restraint, his knowledge, just something. So in that regards, I really do wish we had more of him. I don't hate him, I just don't like him right now. But he will be a really good character when he shows out. It just isn't his flashback yet. And with Oda and One Piece, we know that every flashback, every character we get developed going forward is always going to be better than the last. So if we think Kuma's great right now, Dragon's going to be phenomenal. But as of right now, I don't think he has a great portrayal. That's just where I'm at.
And I 100% agree.
I just wish the best for him. I wish the best for Dragon. He just hasn't given that yet. And I'm going to say it. I feel like a celibate man right now, right? I'm like a guy waiting till sex for, like, marriage until sex or whatever. I feel like I've just been waiting for so long, and I'm pent up, you know? Like, I'm about to bust.
You know what this reminds me a lot of?
Sorry for the rant.
Yeah, you're good. No, it was beautiful. I agree with pretty much everything you just said. The thing that I think this relates to a lot is when Whitebeard didn't go after Blackbeard immediately to like get revenge for Thatch. You know what I mean? Like he didn't. Like Ace is the one who, like, if Luffy was with Dragon at that time, Luffy would have been yelling. Well, Luffy like was a kid at the time, but you know what I mean. If he was like around in his current form, he would be yelling at Dragon the whole time. Go get her. Let's go. Like we gotta go. We have to go save her right now. And that's basically what Ace was doing to Whitebeard, right? Ace was yelling at him like all the time, like, we gotta go. How are you gonna just sit here and do this? Like, we gotta go, you know, avenge our comrade or whatever. And it turns out that Whitebeard was, you know, going after Blackbeard. He never really did that, but he did go after his son when his son was in trouble, right? Like whenever Ace got in trouble, he's like, I'll go do it. But he never really went after Blackbeard for doing that. Like maybe in the war he got mad and like fought him, but he never sought him out, right? And like tried to go take him down. So I think we're in a similar boat now where, you know, like you said, the portrayal is not good, and I think that is okay to think and believe, because it's just not good. You know, like you have to think deeply to make it look okay, which, you know, is okay. But I think we're at the point where Oda's gonna tell us something that makes us see Dragon completely differently. Like we're just like, okay, that's why he's been doing all these specific things this whole time. Like why he couldn't go after her, like why he's been waiting to go after the Celestial Dragons till this time. Like there's gonna be a reason for all that. And it definitely sucks because, like, kind of like with Whitebeard, I don't think we're ever gonna feel good about him not going after Ginny and saving her. Like we're never gonna feel like positive. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but we'll probably feel neutral. We're like, yeah, well, you had two shitty choices, and so you were screwed no matter what. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, like, it's bad that you didn't go save her, but you probably did the thing that helped with the bigger picture. So it's kind of like with Whitebeard. Like, if Whitebeard would have went right after Blackbeard, would he and his crew have been ready to help at Marineford? Like, would Marineford have gone worse?
Yeah.
Would, like, everyone have been annihilated? Like, there's so many different things you could read into it. And I think that's what Oda's going for, is this kind of is... I don't want to say it is the post-time skip Blackbeard, Whitebeard situation, because it's not, but I think he's definitely dipping his toes in that realm of things. And,
yeah.
And all
it makes me... Oh, go ahead.
Okay, just two seconds. 2 seconds,
yeah,
then that's it. It's just... And it makes me extremely excited to see him show up in the next couple chapters, because I think he's going to. And we need it. And we need it. Big time.
I'm a solid believer that chapter 1100, I think Dragon's time to shine is going to be there. 1100. I feel like a conspiracy theorist when I say that, but the numbers, they line up, Like, Dragon introduced chapter 100, Luffy chapter 1000 named after him. I feel like the team up is there. Maybe. If Dragon can somehow travel the world in 24 hours like Jackie Chan, then I feel like he's going to show up.
Yeah, and I guess I'll ask this too. What fruit do you think Dragon has? I know this has been a hot topic. What fruit? Because a couple episodes ago, I know the Insurgent Serpent line had people real hype, even though that's been his epithet is the Insurgent Dragon and has been that for a while, but they just worded it differently in the anime and used Serpent because they didn't want to put the Insurgent Dragon, the Insurgent Dragon. They just didn't want to make it sound,
redundant.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if they dropped his devil fruit in the anime like that. Like, oh, Dragon, the Wind Logia guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Just anime becoming super canon.
Which I know it sounds... Which I know this sounds really basic, but I still think it's going to be a wind fruit or just like a weather fruit in general, like a Logia.
Yeah.
Because the dragon idea, like he actually has a dragon fruit. Because like being a dragon could give you all these same powers. It'd be like a similar thing. But I think... The thing for me that pushed me over the edge was that he said he was a Marine, and top-ranking Marines get Logias. And so
that's what I feel too.
Yeah, he probably got the wind fruit from being like a highly recruited Marine or whatever, like, highly touted. And then he had an event where he wasn't happy with things and he left, and he just still has the fruit. That's my assumption.
That's my headcanon as well. It has to be a wind fruit. I mean, Oda could... It's hard because, like... Oda definitely knows that a lot of people think he has a wind fruit, right? Like, there's no way he doesn't know what he's done for the past 24 years.
Well, like, if you go to the anime for his introduction, and also when he's on the ship, like when they're at Shimotsuki Village or whatever, like whenever they pick up Sabo, because they get Sabo and go right to Shimotsuki Village in that flashback. And in both of those things, you can see him, like, there's like wind at his feet whenever he gets there.
Yeah.
And so it's like... I'm not trying to overthink it. That's all. It's probably just a wind fruit.
If Oda wanted to get really wacky and do something that we didn't see coming, it would have to be like a wind mythical Zoan. But even then, it's like it would be so against what the other Marine Admirals are, because like Joy Boy said it, like, and you said it too, like the Marine Admirals, they got all the Logias, right? Like ice, magma, light. Like, it just makes sense that he has wind.
Yes.
And
that's something we haven't seen a lot of.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. And also just like Kizaru, I think, introduces an interesting thing where it's like we don't know exactly how awakenings work yet, but like light is everywhere, right? So like, Kizaru, it's like whenever he's light, so like, we don't know how they work, but like, could he just merge with the light that's already existing and like he's like hard to hit at that point or something? Like, the reason I bring that up is just that Dragon has a similar thing where wind is everywhere. And so it's just like, I don't know, like his powers could just be so ridiculous because like, I don't know if he could have like a little bit of Caesar's powers because like gas, like there's air everywhere, like different air molecules. It's like, does he have like a bunch of different, like he can tap into all sorts of different types of powers because wind is so like prevalent. Like, I don't know.
It's such a hard one, and maybe that's why it's such a great power as well. Like there's a limitless amounts of things he could do with it. And I gotta say, if he has a wind fruit, I think it makes sense that he could possibly show up here on Egghead really fast, right?
Yep.
Like, you got a wind dude shooting your sails. You can travel at light speeds almost.
could
Well,
imagine
maybe not almost, but
the only person who can go faster than Kuma around the world is his captain dragon. Like something like that would be super dope. Like Kuma and Dragon are like, oh, we got to go save this country. Like that would normally take us 3 months to sail to, but we can just go there today. You know what I mean? Like both of them just go, and they can probably take their crew. Like Dragon, I would imagine could, just bring people with them in the air. Like just have like a
he
wind
could probably
gust.
fly like Superman, right?
Well, he could probably just have like an air gust, push them kind of like Kuma's powers. Maybe Dragon can mimic Kuma's powers, at least in that regard, with the air.
He's like Aang, right? Like the Avatar a little bit. He could just glide.
Speaking of which, did you see the live action trailer for that?
Yeah, it looked good. I don't like Azula though. I think she's too baby face.
That's so crazy
no
you
offense
said
to the
that.
actor.
That was my
No
one
offense to the
critique. Was
it?
I mean, when I say one, I mean the one definitive, like the one thing I was like, that's like my takeaway. That's the thing I'm gonna say is I wasn't a huge fan. Not that she's terrible. Like everything looks solid.
I bet her acting's gonna be great, but I just feel like the actor just doesn't fit what Azula is. Like now whenever Azula shows up and she starts like talking down to Zuko, I'm like, man, he's really being beaten down by like a little girl. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see though, because honestly, after One Piece, I feel more confident than maybe I should about anime adaptations.
I mean, same with Yu Yu Hakusho, right? Yu Yu Hakusho looks pretty good too.
That looks great, and Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my all-time favorite anime. So I have not seen a whole lot of anime. Like I've seen probably most of the big ones, but Yu Yu Hakusho is one that is like, even when I was a kid, I was into it, and like whenever I watched One Piece, I was like, I should go watch Yu Yu Hakusho now that I saw One Piece, so I like have a grasp on like good anime. I guess is like how I felt.
I gotta see what it's all about.
Like I don't know if any of them I watched so far are good. I'm gonna go back.
I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho can be pulled off easily, but that spirit gun though got me questioning it. Looked a little bit silly. I'll admit.
That's probably one of the harder parts. Like stuff like that, because it's like they have to keep it because it's so important, but it is very anime-y, to shout out your attack and have a big laser come out of your finger essentially. So yeah, real quick, I want to get to at least one super chat, but also JB, I saw you say what trailer? There was an Avatar trailer a few days ago, and then I think the Yu Yu Hakusho one like a day after that. I think it was like I can't remember, but it was posted on their YouTube.
Shadow drop.
Yeah, it was posted on their YouTube not long ago. That's where I found it. Also, Antoine Richardson with the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. He probably didn't get a devil fruit until after he left the Marines, talking about Dragon. I think that's definitely a possibility, and I would say that if he didn't get a fruit before leaving the Marines, I still feel like him getting a Logia would make sense just for like the whole trope. Like maybe he didn't get it then, but he probably learned about how good the Logias were. Maybe he was told that top-ranking government officials all get Logias because of how good they are, and then he went and sought one out or something like that. Or maybe one was missing that he wanted, right? And that wouldn't be like the reason he left, but maybe that's like part of it. Is like when he left, he like took that information, like, okay, there's a Logia out there that's better than the rest of them. So I could get behind it. But I guess I would still just say that the connection to the Marines is really important to me. Like I feel like that just sealed the deal for. Like, I could be wrong, I mean, who knows? But that's just. It was also so random.
Thematically.
Oh yeah, and like I said, the wind at his feet. Whenever we see him, that's like such a giveaway. But
the
him
wind
getting
at Noah Kingdom, right? Like who did that?
Yes, exactly.
It would be him.
It's got to be, because that would be really cool. Because I wonder too, like you think about like the warm eddy right before Egghead, like that giant ball of water that Bonnie was in.
Yeah.
It was said, like, I don't know how realistic it is, but like the quick explanation we got was like, oh, the water's warm, but the air is cold, and it's creating this weird pressure vacuum thing where the water is sitting here, whatever it was. I wonder if Dragon can do something similar to that. Like, he can literally pull water up out of the ocean and throw it at people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can probably cause floods and tsunamis and stuff with just wind.
I bet it all just depends on how smart he is, really. Like, how creative he is with his power.
Which, if he's not smart, we're in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he better be. He better be
the
smartest
man, that would be
person.
so sad. Like imagine we get to him and he's like, I have a wind power, but I don't know how to use it. Like I could just create a little gust of wind over here. Or like we come to find out the reason he didn't save Ginny is because he didn't know how to. He's like, huh, like how do we save people again?
Or like,
oh man, no, he's got to be smart. The guy's got to be a genius. I see it. He's playing chess. We're playing checkers.
Yeah, and I mean, I would love for him to actually be the first confirmed Logia awakening that we see. Also, like he's that good because we haven't seen. Now, I do think Kizaru making the shadow clones is teetering on awakening. Like to me, that's like something I would expect to see, or that could be the equivalent of Gear 4th, you know, to Kizaru. Like he's not awakened, but he's damn close. Like he's getting really good with the powers, right? Something like that. And so I don't know. I would love for Dragon to be the first one because he is strong enough to earn that title, and that would be
just like family wise already.
Yeah, exactly. Like that would also put him on like an absurd tier. I just feel like I don't know, like if he just came in and immediately like had his fruit awakened and Saturn's like flying in the air or something, like it would just be like, damn, okay, I see why you were waiting, Oda. I get it. You know?
It could be like Fujitora. You know how Fujitora shows up, everybody like falls to the ground. Maybe Dragon shows up and everybody starts floating a little bit.
Ooh, that would
be kind of cool.
Then everyone's gonna be saying
everything starts
Shiki.
Rising like
Shiki
like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that would actually be so.
He can, but hey, all I gotta say is, you know, Shiki. We haven't seen him recently. We haven't seen him actually do stuff in the manga yet.
Bushido,
He's out
you
there
hear?
Somewhere probably.
Bushido, you hear? Bushido, I know has all the Shiki theories.
Yeah, he has all the Shiki theories.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Shiki. We did see him in the manga, 38 years ago.
38 years ago, and we saw him potentially meet Crocus. I know that's a thing.
And Higurashi had his face.
Yeah, Higurashi slapped his face at some point, which I don't know when she's supposed to come in. Like, I thought we'd see her at God Valley, to be honest, but
she's got to be there
yet.
She's
got to be there. It makes the most sense, right?
Yep.
Like Shiki, Gloriosa, come on.
Real quick, I just saw an interesting question that I just want to answer real quick. I don't know how to say your name because it's in a different language, or like even like the symbols are different. But you said, how would you feel if Boichi took over the drawing until Oda gets better? I love Boichi, but no. And also, the main reason why I want to talk about that is Oda is fine. You know what I mean? Like Oda's completely okay. It's just like for the last chapter, that the way he said it was like he just didn't finish drawing in time. But personally, I think it's because it was so sad that he just couldn't do it, because the other time he was late was 2015, which he didn't have sketches like this, but his editor said he was late, like he turned it in very late. And that was the Rebecca and Kiros chapter where he was.
Yeah, he cries, man. He has a family, you know, like when there's a father-daughter scene, he's gonna cry. Like, I don't blame him. I don't have a family yet, but let me tell you, we're thinking about it, and you know, a little tear ran down my cheek. I was like, oh no, not Kuma, man, not Bonnie.
Yeah,
like, yeah, no, that hits.
Like the fact that it happened on another father-daughter chapter, and like, so Oda's never had sketches in like 1,000+ chapters, and in the 2 times we know that he's been late were father-daughter chapters. I feel like he just got like really emotional.
Yeah,
I feel like that's got to be it. If that's not the case, then I want Oda to just take time off. I don't want someone else to take over. Now Boichi's amazing. The
Boichi, please.
The Boichi Ace novel version, though, that was amazing. I think that was
good.
Super worth it. But I only want Boichi doing One Piece stuff like that. You know, I don't want him doing the canon. Well, that is canon, like the Ace, information. But I don't want him doing the actual manga.
It's like Joy Boy said, Boichi is not One Piece. I think if we were to bring in like a replacement mangaka, I think we should do the Shokugeki no Soma author, because he did the Sanji crossover, and that was good.
Oh, that's the Food Wars or whatever it is.
Yeah, Food Wars. Yeah. He does a good job. It has a slightly One Piece feel, not really, but more so than Boichi. Boichi just, no offense, it's just not my style. I feel like it's very
realistic.
Much the opposite of One Piece. Yeah.
It's hyper realistic,
baby-faced characters, and I can't really do it.
Yeah, like it was very cool in the Ace novel because of some of the like things we got, like seeing Whitebeard with like super chiseled, you know what I mean? Like in his prime, basically, well, near his prime, not in it, but near it. Like that's cool, like seeing Ace going all out with the fire with like you know, again, more realistic art. That was dope. But yeah, I just want Oda to take time off if he needs it. I would prefer that
Oh yeah,
over
same.
everything. That's the number one.
One chapter every 2 weeks, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, if he needs to go chapter break, that's completely fine. YouTube, like, at least in terms of dropping videos, YouTube likes that. You know, at least for me and my channel, like, that works better.
Yeah.
Having breaks.
for the algorithm, the tax write-offs, like there's so much potential there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Oda, just think about the tax write-offs, please.
Please.
That should be your thought process.
Oda said recently, I believe, that he started watching One Piece on YouTube, like clips, which is kind of funny.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, because they aren't they running like a marathon of One Piece episodes?
Yeah,
for like
that's what
a
he's
year
doing.
or
He's
something.
like watching the marathon.
I'll probably pop that on in the background. You know.
Yeah. Oda's just an everyday guy.
Scuba 7. Well, I like this theory, Scuba. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any others before I read it. Scuba 7 with the $2. I appreciate you. Shiki lifted the fire tank pirate ship in chapter 594. Is that where like there's like the thing in the sky that sucks up the ship? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what that was. And I wish it was Shiki.
What do you think it is?
I
think Shiki
UFO.
is a safe bet. UFO.
I think Shiki's a safe bet too, but knowing Oda is goofy guy, man. UFO is a possibility. UFOs actually popped in on the back pages of the chapters at one point with Panda Man. And if so, the route I'm going is that I don't think any of the supernovas 2-year time skips minus Law is actually that important. So like Capone Beige being lifted into the sky, Apu running on invisible stairs, I don't think that's ever going to be a giant plot point. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But if it's not a giant plot point, I think Oda can get super goofy with it and can just say aliens. But if it is going to come back in relevance, if Capone comes back and he's like, guys, 2 years ago I met Shiki, my mouth is going to be wide open. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I think the problem for me is that we already met Beige, and not that he necessarily had a reason to tell us this happened, but you would just feel like from a writing perspective that Oda would make some hint about Beige, like just a line like, I haven't been this worried since 2 years ago, or something, you know what I'm saying? Like something like that. And so the fact there was no comment makes me think what you're saying, where maybe these just aren't going to be that important. But with that being said, I think Shiki is my most likely. Like the other idea, like you're talking about UFOs, the other idea is like Enel. Like Enel has, you know, but this is also 2 years ago, or that I think we're meant to presume that, right? Like right after Marineford ended, I think is when
yeah, it was like happened. Right after Marineford.
And so that would technically be like a couple weeks or a month after Enel went to the moon, and it's just like, why would he have come down 2 years ago, sucked up Beige, put Beige back on the sea, and then disappeared for 2 years? You know what I mean? Like, we haven't seen him since.
And how did Beige survive? Because let me tell you, Enel would wipe the floor with pre-time skip supernovas. There's no chance.
And so that's why I like Shiki, because then I mean, you could still ask, well, what's going on with Shiki? Like, what did they talk about? Like, what's important there? And I feel like Shiki's obscure enough to where Oda can do whatever, really. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Enel, we would have, like, legitimate problems. Like, where's he at now? You know, like, this is just weird.
Do you think Enel's going to come back?
100%. That's actually my next video.
Do you think he's going to be a big plot point? Okay, since you have a video, I don't want to spoil or talk too much about it, but...
Oh, we can talk about it a little bit. I don't... Okay. The Enel part, I'll be honest, I'm still working on even, like, what his role is, because I know he'll come back and why. Like, why in terms of... Or how, I guess I should say. But I don't know... like what he's gonna want out of Elbaf, because that seems to be the arc that it would happen in. Because I guess part of the video is, well, it's gonna be Urouge and Enel both, because it's gonna, what's happening right now with like Kuma, Bonnie, Jenny, Vegapunk, Saturn, all that kind of stuff, we're gonna get that same thing, but Enel, Urouge, probably some giants, you know, because like the Atom Tree might be like an entrance to Sky Islands and stuff, right? Because it's the trees so tall. So like there could be an intricate connection there. But the main thing is, it seems like Urouge is from Burka, and we know that Enel is from Burka, and also Burka is the name of the city on the moon also. There's two Burkas, but one, the one on Earth got destroyed. The one that was the Sky Island got destroyed by an L.
Yeah.
And then L went to the other one, which is on the moon. But there's actually a Burka in real life from, it was like the #1 trading post in the Scandinavian era, like the Viking era in Scandinavia or something. It was like the Vikings' #1 trading post was Burka, basically. And so you think about, Elbaf coming up, like that's like a pretty natural connection. So to tie all those people together, because they're all from Burka, like makes a lot of sense. And I feel like, and it would be like a huge, redo to kind of have an L come back and be like, I'm trying to destroy, the Earth now, or I'm trying to destroy Elbaf now. Like that would just be like very redundant, which Oda really hasn't done that a lot. Like even Crocodile, we met him in Marineford, or Impel Down technically, and he's been free since then. Now he's with the Cross Guild. He hasn't mentioned Pluton. You know what I mean? Like getting Pluton again. Like it's not like he's retreading that, which maybe he does want it, but that's not like the #1 focus. You know what I'm saying? Like not really talking about that.
Yeah.
So I think any villain that comes back is going to have at least a slightly different agenda. And I don't know. And I just don't know what an L's is yet. That's like kind of part I'm still working on, but I just think Elbaf makes too much sense.
And I agree with you. I feel like at the top of the Atom Tree will be a Sky Island. Like Jack and the Giant Stalk or whatever. Jack and the Giant Tree.
The Giant Jack. Giant Jack in One Piece also.
Yeah. I feel like that's what we're gonna go with. And I feel like at the top of that tree we'll see, or on Elbaf we'll meet Enel again, and I think we're finally gonna meet Big News Morgans.
Ooh, I like that.
Because of the Golden Goose, and then we got Morgans. I feel like it just kind of lines up, even though he is an albatross.
Well, I like that actually because Vivi's with him, and I think Vivi 100% will be with the crew during Elbaf. Like, I think what's likely to happen is that Vivi arrives either during Egghead or at the end, because like, for her to get dropped like off at Egghead, like into the lab, would be a terrible plan. That'd be such a terrible plan, like F tier plan. But maybe she is waiting out, like right outside of it. You know how like the crew was talking about, which we know the Vega Force is destroyed now, but the plan was, let's fly out with the Vega Force and then Kude bursts from there once we're out of range, and then we'll be good. So like they would have been in the air most of the time. And so I think what's going to happen is they're going to fulfill that, and maybe like the Iron Giant will fulfill the Vega Force's role, and they'll still fly out of Egghead like the Sunny will, but then they'll see Morgan's ship while in the air, and that'll somehow be where they meet again. Because Vivi getting dropped off at the lab there's just, I don't know why Oda would do that. Yeah, it was like such a terrible decision if that happens.
My mindset is my theory with how Egghead's gonna end is that Big News Morgans is gonna come and not save, but like he's gonna be the one that picks up the Straw Hats. They're not gonna leave on the Sunny, because I think the Sunny is gonna get destroyed or at least broken down for a little bit where they can't just hop on it. And we'll have Caribou with us, because Caribou will just inhale the ship into his body, and then Caribou's gonna come with us to Elbaf again.
That's cool, making that Caribou connection. I like that. I like the idea that Caribou just absorbs the ship in general, and they escape together separately, and then he gives them the ship back or whatever once they get there.
And then he's going to learn about Uranus when he goes to Elbaf, because he's learned about so much already.
Yep.
Might as well give it to him.
And so that ties into a really interesting theory I've had about Elbaf, where you said that you think there's a Sky Island at the top. I think that's definitely possible. If there's not a Sky Island at the very top, then it's going to have like a bunch of branches that make a bunch of different Sky Islands. And the very top of the tree will be maybe like a nest for Uranus or something.
Former Burka.
And I think what's going to happen is the tree is going to fall in Elbaf. That's going to be like part of the goal of the arc. Because like you think back to Skypiea, which again tying to all the Sky stuff and Burka and all that. Giant Jack fell in Skypiea, and that brought the bell back down and let them beat an L also, like just because like Luffy like ran off of it or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see a parallel of that where the Atom Tree falls, but instead of a poneglyph that talks about an ancient weapon and the golden bell being at the top, I think it'll be Uranus itself that's at the top. And so like the tree will have to fall to bring Uranus back down, or something will be like the logic.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that'll make sense.
I'm on the same boat with Sunlight Tree Eve as well, because we were talking about the Sapphire
Mhm.
scales, and if the Sunlight Tree Eve is connected to that, then I believe that Luffy will destroy the tree and also destroy Fishman Island in the process, since the tree's
Mhm.
roots are right on top of Fishman Island. So I feel like
Yes.
that would tie that into.
Yeah, exactly. I think if Luffy is going to destroy the Eve tree, then he should also destroy the Atom tree. Like, it just, to me, it's
Yeah.
just like, because he's destroying the whole agenda that like the governments make. Because like the idea of Adam and Eve is like that's the creation story, and we know in One Piece, like the creation story that they're told is like, oh, the 20 kings 800 years ago made the world, and like whatever, like that's just like they're the gods of the world. They're like the creators, whatever. Like that's what people are trying to be told to believe. And I think the Adam and Eve thing is a symbol of that, where like in the Adam and Eve story, it's like Luffy is gonna, because also all the Christianity ties to the government and stuff. I think it, like, destroying the Adam and Eve tree is going to be a symbol of that. Like, destroying the Adam and Eve story is similar to destroying the origin story that the government is creating. You know what I mean? Like, it's that same kind of parallel where
Oh yeah.
I need to get rid of these because, like, Kuma has the Bible. Narona Imu's talked about in the Book of Genesis. I think I think that's definitely where he's going. Like, he's got to destroy both trees to destroy the belief system that the government's creating, kind of deal.
Yeah, Oda became Roundup.
Yeah, exactly. And now that's
He's now
what
big weed.
that's what Luffy's gonna be doing. Just putting a roundup on all the trees. And JB, I saw you said that reminds me of Chopper's Island during the time skip. 1000%. I'm so glad you said that. I do talk about that in the video. It's coming out this weekend. Well, it should come out this weekend, I should say, because we got Anime NYC. But
And then RuneScape.
yeah, and RuneScape also. Now that goes on for a month, so we got time for that. but yeah, I think the Chopper's time skip, because also like he had like all those birds up there, and like I always think his time skip, his time skip is so interesting because he like meets these like cavemen, but they're like intelligent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really weird. And that, to me, that gave me some Shandora vibes, because so like they are not cavemen, but they're more primitive, right? However, they're from the moon, which makes them really high tech, right? Like, originally their ancestors are from the moon. So even though they're behind the times now, they are, from people who are more advanced than Vegapunk, supposedly, because like tied to the ancient kingdom, they protect the poneglyph. So I think there are some ties, because obviously that's like Sky Island connection. That's actually an island that went from the ground to the sky. So I think in Elbaf we're gonna have an island go from the sky to the ground, and that's gonna be like wherever the Atom Tree falls, and that's gonna
nice.
Yeah, I think that's mainly where it's gonna go.
They fell off. Yeah, they fell off technology-wise. We hate to see it over here.
And then it is so weird that Enel went to the moon, and like his fruit was the perfect thing to power everyone on the island, or on the planet, I should say, because like
Just electricity.
Yeah, it's like that's like the one thing you really needed. And I don't know, man. All that really throws me off, because D has a good comment here. You said, what if Enel is the missing piece of the mother flame, unlimited electricity? So I think that, so like, and Egghead has a power source in the basement that they've talked about, or something like that. That's like one of the government's 3 goals to leave with from Egghead. So like that wouldn't be the power source, but I think the electric fruit could be the power source of the past. You know what I mean? Like the old Burka that was on the moon, it was probably an electric fruit user that powered them. And I've had this theory for a long time, where the reason that the Skypians, Birkins, and Shandorians ever moved from the moon to the Earth is because the past electric fruit user died. And then they couldn't power it anymore. And they're like, well, we got to go down to the Earth and get normal resources.
Do something, guys.
Yeah, we can't do holograms for everything anymore. Or, we can't use rocket ships and go around the space anymore. We just got to go to the Earth and be safe, until we can bring that fruit back. And so I do think there's a connection. I don't think he's an actual power source, like, or at least for Egghead, but I do think maybe like in Elbaf, because if Vegapunk goes with us, which seems possible, I don't know if I would really like it for him to be there for another entire arc with the crew, but if it did, it would be a cool connection where maybe he would like see Enel and be like, wait, I've been looking for this fruit because maybe it's like been in
Yeah.
Sky Island so long. Like I've been needing this exact one. Like you can power everything. And he's like, oh, I just did up on the moon. And like there's just all sorts of like cool connections there.
Yeah, or maybe even Vegapunk. We see him perfectly recreate a Logia fruit as well, because we know we can do it for like
Ooh.
Zoans and Paramecias, and he's worked with Logias before, and that's how he replicated Kizaru's laser beam. But it doesn't seem like he's made a Logia, so maybe he'll make another electricity one, and
Yeah.
maybe somebody gets it. Who
Yeah,
knows?
because he can't like duplicate the fruit in terms of like giving the human the powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he can take the powers and just use like the raw energy, or basically like Kizaru's lasers. He was able to duplicate them, probably by studying the lasers. And like Kizaru's lasers are like 1 degree off from Enel's fruit. You know what I mean? Like they're very similar. Like obviously light beams and electricity very close, like not the same. But you could probably use Enel's powers to make as many laser beams as you wanted. You know, if you like powered a thing with it, right? So I think that might be where it goes. Is like Vegapunk's like, oh, I already know a lot about light stuff or whatever. Like yours, just let me study you for a little bit.
Just a minute.
Yeah, and now I don't know how that would work. Now maybe Vegapunk could talk about, because remember there were space pirates on the moon, and their Jolly Roger looked like Vegapunk's head. Right, it was like a really tall skull.
I feel like by the time we see Enel again, he's gonna be very, maybe not humble, but I feel like he's gonna be more willing to cooperate, just because of the automatas that he's like putting up with up there, you know?
Agreed. I can't see him coming down and being just like the same, I'm trying to destroy everything. I think he's gonna come down and be like, all right, Sun God Nika, we need to talk. You know, something like that. Like he looks at Luffy.
Stories about you up there.
Because part of the video that I'm working on, something I talk about is Yaruj and Kuma share some kind of key similarities, other than the fact they're both like super bulky, Buccaneer-esque looking humans. But they're both priests, right? Like that's Yaruj's thing, and we just saw Kuma, and Kuma was worshiping Sun God Nika. But then the thing that's interesting about Yaruj is he's from Burka, which is in the sky, and that's where we first heard about a sun god. That's where we first saw Luffy in the Nika pose, all that kind of stuff. So it's like he probably also knows about Nika. So I think part of what's going to happen is, so when Enel destroyed Burka 8 years ago, I think that's going to have some tie to Nika. Like maybe he wasn't happy that they were worshiping a different god than him, kind of deal. But then I think he probably went to the moon, to the other Burka, and was like, oh, there is a god other than me. Oh, shoot. You know, like, I didn't know. And so I think you're right. He's going to come down humbled, like, all right, I messed up, but we're going to fix it, you know, or something like that.
Maybe he even starts to respect Luffy because of it. Because by the end of it, I don't think Enel likes Luffy, but maybe this is what ties Enel back to us and brings him to the good side. He's like, hey, like, this is the one god that beat me, and it makes sense now. Like, of course, a regular human couldn't best me.
Because he is God. He's the real God.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Great. He's gonna come to believe that Luffy is the actual God. But then it'll be a reverse
mechanism.
But then it'll be a reverse of Skypiea, where he's gonna be like, I'm not a god. Like there aren't gods. You know, it's gonna be like a repeated thing. Like no, the lesson wasn't that I was God in Skypiea. The lesson was there aren't any. You know, like that's why I defeated you.
Life isn't fair.
Yeah, it's like you're still wrong. Like you're closer to a good answer, but no way. So I like that. I don't want an L to be evil. Like that would just be such a retread. Because even the Cross Guild seem humbled a little bit.
They're different, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They all know they can lose now. You know what I mean? Which like they probably knew that a little bit.
And they know they don't want to fight Luffy.
Yes, that Luffy is special. Or if they are going to fight Luffy, they have to take it seriously, which is why I'm 100% on board with Cross Guild doing a Davy back fight with the Straw Hats. I think that's like a lock.
I would like that and hate that so much. I don't know.
You can't fight him again.
I gotta see a good Davy back. I think Foxy just put a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh no, Foxy's the GOAT, man.
I know you love Foxy. It's the
Foxy.
Background here. I see it.
I know he's back there. He's getting punched by Gear Finn. Yeah.
He's just a memester, man.
Well, and I will say, the thing that I dislike most about Foxy with the Davy back fight is that he cheated. That's always the thing that bothers me most. Is I'm like,
Yeah, he should
I,
have he should have been a straight shooter.
yeah, like I'm cool with you bringing this game up. I'm cool with you having the advantages because you played the game so many times. I'm cool with you doing like you set up the rules, but then actually you have like a little cheat, like not a cheat, but like, you
The
know,
rules bend
yeah,
towards him.
like for instance, you use a fishman with the boat race, with the donut race, right? He had a fishman
Yeah,
carrying the boat. That's okay. That's that's not cheating. That's like, you know, that's you know the game very well. You know what I mean? And you're,
yeah.
but then when you are like slowing the other ship down with your devil fruit powers, and I'm like, don't, no, like
And
no,
then he's like, "No, I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?"
yeah, like that rubbed me the wrong way. But I think a legitimate Davy back fight where people like follow the rules, at least as much as they can. Like I said, the fishman thing, that's okay. Like I think an official one with the Cross Guild and Straw Hats, I feel like that could just be amazing because it would also show like that we're a really good pirate crew outside of fighting because we already know that from
Yeah.
defeating these pirates. But like for instance, let's say Doflamingo, let's say they do a donut race and Doflamingo gets in the donut race category and he's like, I'm just gonna pull the ship with my strings, you know what I mean? Like I can just go up in the air
Yeah.
and just pull it. And it would be like, oh well, Jinbei and Frankie have to find a way around that and beat them, even though, you know what I mean, the Sunny has to be
I
better.
can see that.
So that kind of stuff is why I think it would work because they all have powers. But
I like that. And then yeah, I mean, maybe they all cheat. You know, maybe Buggy's crew cheats. Maybe the Straw Hats start cheating too, and they're like real pirates. If both sides cheat, I think that would be better. For the Foxy one, I
Yeah.
think it's because only Foxy cheated that.
I agree.
Yes, it like put a bad taste in my
Like-
mouth. But also, may I? I'm gonna be excused for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh no, go for it. No worries. Do what you
One
got to do. No worries. And JB, I saw you in the chat. You said if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Dax, not a pirate, confirmed. Well, what Sai just said is exactly the right thing. It's the fact that only one side cheated. That the Straw Hats were like, okay, we agreed on following the rules, so let's follow the rules. And then Foxy's like, no, like that. I don't know. Like the whole premise of the Davy back fight was to, like, we're not gonna fight like normal. We're gonna set up some rules and follow them. So that's, you know, I don't know. It is what it is. If Blackbeard was in a Davy back fight, he would definitely cheat. I'll say that much. And I probably wouldn't complain, so I'm probably hypocritical in that sense. But I don't know. I want to see a Davy back fight, and I know Randy Troy has talked about this a lot. Shout out to Randy. I just need to see one where it ends up with Zoro versus Mihawk. That's all I want. I want everyone's dream on the Straw Hats to rely on Zoro beating Mihawk. That's like my #1 goal. Because it's got to happen at some point, and there has to be kind of like a reason for it other than Zoro just being like how are they going to meet up otherwise and have this even like debate and clash? Because like Mihawk doesn't even work for the government anymore, right? So it's like it kind of has to be a cross guild conflict at this point, and I feel like ending a Davy back fight with it just makes the most sense. Because they could also be a scenario where like usually the captains wait last, but Buggy maybe in the groggy ring round he could put the ball on his head, but then have his head just fly around, and then it'd be really hard to beat him. Because in the other Davy back fight against, in the other Davy back fight against the Foxy Pirates, we lost the donut race but won the groggy ring round, and so I would love for us to win the donut race this time, like Jinbei and Frankie, because we didn't have them back then. Jinbei and Frankie improved our ship not navigating, but like helmsmanship, you know, how good the ship is, how fast it's going. I would like to see us win that one this time, but then lose the groggy ring because of Buggy, ironically. Like the only game the Cross Guild win is because Buggy, right? Because his powers are so good that they can't catch his head, and because you have to grab their head and put it into the ring to win. So if his head's flying around, it's really hard. So I would just love that. I just think that just makes so much sense, because then that would leave Mihawk, as a Buggy gets in the second game, Mihawk will be saved for the last game, and I just think that would work so well. I want to make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. I don't think I did, right? No? Beautiful. Thank you guys for being so supportive today, by the way. I appreciate that. JB, you said, I gotta see some Yonko level Davy back fights. Imagine the hype. Exactly. Like, I need to see pirates at their best without the fighting part. Like, we're gonna get plenty of that in the final saga. Plenty, right? I mean, we're gonna fight the government. Probably going to fight Blackbeard at some point. We're probably going to see Shanks and Blackbeard fight at some point, which that's another video I'm working on. But I think the idea of like seeing a crew sail their ship the best we've ever seen, or something to that effect, I'm kind of dying to see. Like, who is the best at sailing their ship? Who's the best at like this kind of random teamwork kind of stuff in the groggy ring? Because it's really weird. So I don't know. I think Oda could cook. And here's another cool idea. And now this is a little crazy, but it's so cool I gotta mention it. All right, so what if the Cross Guild fights or has a Davy back fight with the Straw Hats in Elbaf, which I think is totally possible actually. But what if during the Zoro versus Mihawk fight, what if the slash that lets Zoro beat Mihawk and become world's strongest swordsman is so strong that it cuts the Atom Tree? Like, the thing that brings the Atom Tree down is Zoro beating Mihawk. Okay, Sai's here, so I'm gonna say it again real quick.
Oh, all right, I'm back. What's up?
Okay, I was just saying something cool. Now that you're here, I might as well say it again so you can hear it. But what if they have the Cross Guild and Straw Hats have a Davy back fight in Elbaf, and the final attack that Zoro uses to defeat Mihawk cuts down the Atom Tree also? Like that, like the only thing to beat the world's strongest swordsman also cuts down the Atom Tree in one slice. Like, that's how strong it is. And that causes the tree to fall, like, not even on purpose. But, like, it's probably necessary for the arc, but that's just how Oda does it.
I like that. So when you say Zoro and Mihawk, do you think the fight, like their final fight's gonna happen on Elbaf? Or do you think just like a Davy back S fight?
Because in a Davy back fight, the final round is a 1v1 fight.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, and so I think what'll happen is, so it goes Donut Race, Groggy Ring, 1v1 fight.
Yeah.
And so I think the Groggy Ring will be like the chance for Jinbei and Frankie to shine, because we didn't have them last time we did this thing. And so I think they could step up our ship game, you know, and make us win that one this time instead of losing it. But then I think we'll lose the Groggy Ring because Buggy will enter that round. And the Groggy Ring works by dunking someone's head into the ring, basically. You have to grab their head. And Buggy can separate his head and have it fly around. So he'd be really hard to beat. So ironically, Buggy would help them win a round, right? Like, he would be the key.
Yeah.
And then that would leave Zoro versus Mihawk. Because Luffy'd probably like, oh, well, Buggy's fighting in the second round. I got to go against him. You know, like, he wouldn't want to wait till the end. And it would be... And then basically it would also be where Zoro's fighting Mihawk at the end. And everyone's dreams rely on him winning. Because they can't be a pirate crew if he loses.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then Zoro cuts down the Atom Tree.
To
or
win.
even Mihawk does. But yeah, they either way, I like that.
Yeah.
You know, this feels like ZKK a little bit, but I think this is more plausible, right? Because Luffy doesn't want to beat the tree.
Yeah, and he's not going to fight Mihawk at the end. And like, how else is Zoro versus Mihawk going to be necessitated? That's like always my thought.
That's a hard one. That's why I was like asking, like, wait, do you think Zoro's going to fight Mihawk here? Because it's such a weird one. It's like the Blackbeard question, right? Do you think Blackbeard's gonna, or do you think Luffy's gonna fight Blackbeard first or Emu first? It's like the same thing with Zoro and Mihawk. Like, do you think Zoro's gonna fight Mihawk first, or whoever the final villain of the series is? It's like,
it's gotta be Mihawk. I think it has to be. And
yeah.
And I don't want anyone to ever feel like that's like bad, because it's just like you have to organize it. It's like, how else would you have Zoro versus Mihawk after we beat the government or something? Like, it's impossible.
Yeah, after we get laughed at. Like, is Zoro gonna say, hey guys, like, I'm gonna take a quick 1 week vacation to go find Mihawk? Like, I don't, like, how does that happen naturally, organically in the story?
And like we talked about earlier, you know, Cross Guild, we've already beaten everyone in that crew except for Mihawk. Right? Like, we've beaten everyone in a fight. And even if the other warlords join, they've all been defeated before. Except for Mihawk. So it would just make sense that if we do a Davy back fight, oh, well, only 2 people fight in a Davy back fight. We might as well make it, you know, the fight that we need and the one guy in that crew that we haven't defeated yet. Like, there's so many cool layers there. I just think that would just be so cool for everybody. I don't know. Like, and the thing for me, like I said, is that, like, Luffy would not get to become the Pirate King if Zoro loses that fight. Like, that's what that doing in a Davy back fight would set up, which just makes that so much deeper than we thought. Because remember, after he lost to Mihawk, he's like, I'll never lose again. Is that all right, Pirate King? And then for that to come back in like, I told you, you know, like, I told you I wouldn't lose. I got you, you know, like, that would just be, I don't know. That would be the best way to go about it, I feel like.
Do you? So here's a question spinning off of that. After we beat Cross Guild in a Davy back fight, what happens is we usually like we could take their crew, right? We could take their crew, their flag, or whatever. Who do you think we would take? Because I feel like this would be a great chance to get allies. I know Luffy probably wouldn't think of it that way because Luffy's very, happy-go-lucky. But realistically, I do feel like Cross Guild will play a part in the final war.
Agreed.
So maybe this is a good way to bring them in and have them be on our side.
I think what would happen is he would take their flag, and I think what would happen is most people in that group would be okay with that. Like, okay, I didn't really like this anyway. I didn't like working under Buggy. They all don't like each other that much. So I think he would take their flag again and would do that. But then I think they all individually would be like, maybe they learn something during that because they're at Elbaf, or like, I don't know, something happens where they just learn like, well, we probably should team up with this guy. Like it'll be kind of like a Grand Fleet moment. I could see that because like where Luffy's like, I'm not drinking this, but like if you guys need help, we'll help you. Like that was basically what he said. And so I could see a similar thing where like they're like, all right, Luffy, we like, we know that you're about to take on the government or whatever. We'll like work with you. And he's like, I don't want you guys to. And then it'll be a similar thing where they're like, they will, but it's because they're doing it their own way. Like Croc might do something with Pluton. I don't know, but something helpful. I don't know. I could definitely see that where they join, but not because Luffy lets them. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel the same way with Enel even. Like, I feel like all of these former villains are going to help us in the final saga or even the final war. And they will. It's going to be something we didn't ask for and something that we might not even, as the Straw Hats, know about. Like the way Enel's kind of set up, in my opinion, I feel like he's going to be one of those characters that comes in on the side just randomly in Marie Joie. Like he shows up, like there's this really strong character that we haven't seen yet as the Straw Hats, and Enel just beats him and then he leaves. He's like, well, I did my part. I don't know.
I can see that.
I can't imagine him being focused on.
Or, this is a cool idea that I might even include in the video now. What if there's a threat coming from space, like another space pirate or something in that regard, and Enel comes to help them, like, or warn them about it? Oh, I like that. That would make a lot of sense because, like, it's similar with what you're saying. He's doing his own thing, but until the worlds collide, like, kind of literally in this case, where like the moon or space people that are getting involved are going to hurt Earth. Like until that happens, he doesn't come down and get involved, but he's kind of like working on it right now, probably because he already defeated space pirates, so he's like familiar with them. So, and who knows, like once the moon was powered, who knows what they've been doing, like,
oh yeah,
like there's probably other info there that he's figured out, like other hieroglyphs.
It's like Moonfall.
Yeah,
he's gonna weaponize the moon.
Which, like, that panel with Beige, that always scares me. I'm like, it feels like the moon just came down and sucked him up. Like, it's definitely not what happened. But that's what it feels like. Real quick, got a couple super chats. Terrible TJ, I appreciate you being a member for 8 months. Like D-Stream. Yes, everyone, please like D-Stream. We're actually over 100 likes. We're at 118, which is amazing. But every like does help a lot with the algorithm for sure. So I appreciate that. And let's see, Shaw Zed with the... Okay, I'm going to read that in a second just because Vex just did the memberships, and then I'll answer yours. Vex, thank you again, bro, with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. Old boy, Shimotsuki D. Albert. I like... Hey, that's cool. King and the Shimotsuki clan and the D clan all combined into one. E. Bowlcut, Padilla Racing. Was that 5? Did I say 5?
Yeah, it's at 5.
It's at 5. I see there's a message deleted. I don't know how that works, but hey, whatever. I appreciate you guys. It works. Thank you, Vex.
It's like a secret admirer.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. What was it? Was it Doron and he's hiding the fact he got one? I don't know. I don't know what that is.
It's somebody making an exposed video on you.
Yeah, exactly.
They want to hide their presence.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Actually, speaking of that, did you happen to see, this is like so random, but did you see the Boogie 2988 documentary?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
that
I watched
was
the whole
so
thing.
good. Same.
Man, it is awful. I mean, it's awfully good. Like every minute I watched, it just kept on getting worse and worse. I used to like Boogie too back in the day. I used to watch him like 10 plus years ago.
And apparently some of that stuff was not true. Like he has a little bit more money than he said and stuff like that. But still, the documentary was so well done. I almost like don't care. The guy's like not even a big YouTuber who did it, like not a massive one. And it's like so professional. Oh, JB, you saw it too?
It's so good.
It's strong. Lucas, yeah, everyone's seen this. This is so crazy. That it was
It's
such
like watching a train on fire and everybody's trying to escape, but they can't. Like it's oh man,
it's like watching a
Boogie's
train on
life.
fire, but everyone just pulled out their phones to record it. That's how it
Yeah,
feels.
yeah.
Oh
I
my God.
I love how weird Boogie sounds in that entire interview too.
He's like so open about how bad he is. Like not even.
Yeah.
I mean, he is
I just love
bad,
beautiful women.
but it's like there's nothing like super duper terrible that he did. You know what I mean? There's nothing like that's gonna get him in jail kind of bad, but everything's just like shitty. And it's if anyone hasn't seen it, I'm sorry we even brought it up. It has nothing to do with One Piece whatsoever.
He doesn't sound like a great character.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's a good one. Tying it back to One Piece, he's not the kind of guy I would want to win in a Davy back fight.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
In fact,
nobody wants him.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I were in a Davy back fight and I won the first round, I might take him just to like make fun of the other side. Like, you know, like, I don't need anyone good to defeat you. Like that. Like it would be a slap in the face to take him on your crew from the other crew. Like it would help the other crew to do that.
Dude, the Arkansas 8 is so good.
Yeah, it's
or the Alabama. What do you call it? Like Arkansas 8. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
I need to start using that. Power
Arkansas
scaling
8.
girls based on states.
That's going back to Vasco. If Vasco,
Vasco would love that one.
Again, he didn't do anything like illegal, or at least feloniously. You know what I mean? Illegal, but
yeah.
But definitely like an iffy guy, and he's kind of like Vasco. He's like a diet Vasco.
Diet Vasco. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And then what are you compared to that, or what is Par compared to that? If Boogie's a diet Vasco.
Par be like the lobotomized Boogie.
The lobotomized Boogie, not Vasco.
Yeah,
but Boogie.
No. Yeah, we got to go reverse. You know, if Boogie's Vasco, Vasco's Boogie.
That's fair.
We got to like twist it around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have the parallels.
Yep.
Oh man, that's so good. I love that you brought that up.
Oh yeah, I've been like, that's something I've like sent to a couple of my friends, and none of them have watched it, and I'm like, I just need to talk about this. Like, it's just a good documentary.
All that money, man, going to waste.
Yeah, he like, what did he have, like 800,000 in crypto or something like that, and then it fell like in 1 year. Watch, I mean.
And then he's like, I don't even know how much money I have now. I just put it there, and it just does stuff.
Yep, I don't know how I'm gonna pay the mortgage, and I'm like. Whatever.
Wild.
It's all good. It was a good documentary, though. You guys should definitely check it out if you haven't.
Yeah.
Agreed. But what was I gonna say? There was a One Piece thought that I was gonna connect this all back to whenever we started talking about Boogie, and now we're so far off of it. I can't remember.
We were talking about Enel, Cross Guild, Final War, predictions and stuff like that.
I can't remember. I thought there was an actual point I wanted to say, but I can't remember. I know we were talking about the Cross Guild and Mihawk and him losing, which I still feel like that would be great, but...
Oh yeah, so you brought up Dofi. So you're on board that they're going to break Dofi out?
Probably. I feel like that's where it's headed. I mean, Moria is out and about right now, and he's like in the same boat as Doffy in terms of like, they both should be joining Cross Guild if we're going to stick to the whole warlord thing, or like that panel at Logtown where it has like all the future warlords in like one line. Like Moria and Dofi should both fit into that, and Moria's freed up right now, and so I think it makes sense. I just don't know how it would really happen.
I like that. That's where I'm at as well.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to join up, right? Like it's like I know people don't like the thought of Boa joining Buggy, but let's be real. Who was actually happy with Mihawk joining Buggy or Crocodile joining Buggy like when it was first announced? Like I feel like there's a chance.
And like I feel like Boa joining would be a very similar thing to her being a part of the Warlords, where like she did not like being like listening to anybody, but she recognized what that role did for her and her people, basically. Like, okay, I can help my people by being in this role. I think it's a similar thing where like maybe she catches word that Luffy's in trouble and the Cross Guild is going to the same place Luffy's going to, and she's like, okay, I'll join just so I can go. And like she doesn't do anything to
Yeah.
help them, but she is technically on their ship and part of the crew because she had to agree to do that or something like that.
Yeah, like they all it's like the Rocks crew. They all have their own objectives. Boa's objective could just be finding Luffy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's only gonna be with Buggy in the group until they find Luffy, and then boom.
Yeah.
Like forget you guys, I'm going with my man. Like I feel like that's how it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
agree.
like it kind of mirrors like Gloriosa too, because people don't know who Gloriosa was in love with, right? They were like,
Yeah.
oh, it could be Roxy Zebek, but we don't see that. It could be Whitebeard, but she didn't show affection to him.
Yep.
So maybe Gloriosa was the same way, where she was in love with somebody else who was on a different pirate crew, and she was only with the Rocks pirates so that she could get to her end
Follow
goal.
that. Yeah,
For
yeah.
man.
I like that. I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. Because she
Yeah,
also
'cause, I mean, cross guilds like Rocks in a way.
and we know that at the point that we saw her in that flashback, that she already was like in love with someone. Because if you look at the dialogue, Stussy or Miss Buckingham, whatever, she is like on Whitebeard's shoulder, and Gloriosa's like, don't embarrass yourself or whatever, right? Like because like the girl character is like all over this male character, right? She's like, stop embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and then they say that's rich coming from you, Gloriosa, because obviously she's been doing the same thing Stussy's doing, but to someone who isn't there right now, right? So anyone who's there in that panel isn't who Gloriosa likes, but she definitely does like someone by that point. So I don't know exactly
Oh yeah.
where that's going. But I do want to get back to this one super chat from Shaw Zed, just so that I think that's the last one, because I did vex.
Oh yeah, that's where we left off with before we started talking about Boogie.
Yeah, because I want to say the
That's
cross guild thing, because this also ties to the opposite side of it. Because if the Straw Hats fight the cross guild in a Davy Back fight in Elbaf, then what are the other two Yonko going to do in that arc, right? What are Blackbeard and Shanks going to be doing? Because if the cross guild gets beat, that's one less Yonko. We have to make the other side even, so it's 1v1, which is Blackbeard versus Luffy for sure in the end. So Shaw Zed asked, thank you for the $2 super chat, I appreciate you. Blackbeard appears at the end of Elbaf and kills Shanks. I think...
I gotta
Go ahead.
say...
You first.
No, go ahead. You go first. You go first.
I have a long explanation, so you first.
Yeah.
You first.
I'm just gonna say that I am Team Blackbeard. I think Blackbeard, if they were to fight, I feel like Blackbeard would win. That's going to be my most blasphemous take.
No, it's
maybe, but I feel like it makes the most sense in terms of the story. There's no way Blackbeard's going to lose. And Shanks even knows that Blackbeard has more to him than probably what we've seen. The Blackbeard we have seen throughout the story, just like Dragon, right? The portrayal is not looking too good. It's the same way. Like Dragon, like Blackbeard. When they actually show out and when it's their like arc and time to shine, I think they're gonna go crazy.
I agree.
Because I don't know how Blackbeard was able to scar Shanks. That is insane.
He has
Shanks
some secret
has over
sauce.
$1 billion berry bounties. He has secret sauce. Like Blackbeard with no devil fruit, just the 3 claws like Vega from Street Fighter. He somehow scarred Shanks, and Shanks to this day is still like reading the newspaper about him. During the kid fight, Shanks was pulling out the Carfax on Blackbeard for a minute. He was like, hey, what about Blackbeard, though? Like, forget Kid. What about this guy?
Yep. I heard Blackbeard's going to be near
away.
Wano. That's why we went there. I'm chasing him right now.
Yeah. He's like chasing him like a bad ex. Like, you can't tell me that Blackbeard is not around that realm.
And the thing I always tell people about like the Shanks getting scarred panel, because I put a lot of stock in that one, and I know some people try to like discredit it, but Oda went out of his way to put a little line in that chapter where he talks about the scar, where Shanks is like, and I was taking him seriously too. Like it was like the author, joking. That's the author telling us, hey, this is real. Like this isn't some luck. This isn't that Shanks was like underprepared, that it was like a 10v1. Like no, this was a legitimate battle that Blackbeard did this, and Shanks like, I gotta get out of here. Like
somehow.
Shit. Yeah. So for me, I'm 100% with you. I don't think that's blasphemous at all. I think if Shanks and Blackbeard were to fight, there's like no real reason that Shanks should win. Like it just, what would be the purpose of Shanks defeating Luffy's biggest opponent? You know what I mean? Like it makes no sense. Now the flip side to that, I think, which is a good point to bring up, is like, oh well, if Luffy be on his deathbed, similar to how Shanks found Uta in Film Red, and she was like almost dead, but then she died right afterward. I think it'd be a similar situation, because it just, I don't know how else it would work, because Shanks already said he's leaving Elbaf, like he was already supposed to be gone before Luffy showed up. So it's just kind of like, I don't know if the reunion can happen there at this point, and so I don't know. And Zed, you said so Blackbeard appears at the end of Elbaf and kills Shanks. I think what's gonna happen is Shanks already said he's supposed to leave. He should if we get to Elbaf, like the Straw Hats do, and Shanks is still there. Oda messed up.
Bad time.
Yeah,
Bad timing for Shanks.
Well, it's just Oda said, like, Shanks is like, we got to get going. We got to leave. We should have already left. I'm getting held up. It's like, bro, there's no way you're going to put those lines. Like, those lines are useless if he's still there, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, So I think he'll be gone. But I do think Shanks and Blackbeard happens in the Elbaf arc, but just not on Elbaf. I think it's going to happen on the same island that Whitebeard fought Roger. And it'll be like a serious fight this time where it's like, I don't know, like, because we know that, like, so Shanks used Divine Departure, which is the same attack Roger used against Odin on that island. Blackbeard obviously has Whitebeard's fruit now. That's where we first heard about Blackbeard not sleeping. Like, we had hints for it, but that's like where Shanks like talked about it directly, like with Buggy and stuff to Blackbeard. So it's just like for them to go back to that island and fight and have like their final clash, but instead of it ending where Whitebeard's crew gives up their poneglyph reader to help them, I think it could be a flip version of that where Blackbeard gets all the road poneglyphs from Shanks from defeating him, and then that's it. Because Law's submarine sank. He also got away. I don't know if Blackbeard got his rubbings there. It's hard. We didn't see it, but we did see it for kids, so I feel like that's the sign.
I'm assuming he did. It would be really sad if he didn't.
Maybe he did. Maybe he already has a plan in his head on how to get them, and he just didn't care. Like, I know he brought it up, but maybe it was more to stop Law from having them as opposed to him needing them. You know what I mean?
Take out somebody out of the race.
Exactly.
It's like tripping the kid beside you when you're like in a competition, right?
Yeah, stepping on their shoelaces before. Yeah,
stepping on their shoelaces. Holding their family hostage. It's in the same boat.
Yeah,
I can see Blackbeard doing that.
I completely agree. And I'm so glad you're on the Blackbeard train, because I know it's almost like a 50-50.
It's like, hard, right?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's hard in terms of other people trying to talk him down. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But it's not hard for me in terms of looking at the story. Yeah. And if I feel bad saying it, but I'm always like, he's the final villain, final pirate villain, like de facto.
Yeah, it's him and Emu. Like, there's no way he's weak. Like, there's no chance. And then people always say that, I don't know where this misconception came from, but they're like, oh, I thought Blackbeard scarred Shanks by using a dirty move. I thought he hit him during his sleep. And I was like, no. Like, Shanks literally said he was not holding back. He wasn't, taking him lightly. Like, there's something here.
I think what
there's no way.
is, and this is another spoiler for a future video, I guess, but that's all right, is that I think when Blackbeard sleeps, he gets a really strong form that's different than normal. And that's what he did against Shanks, is he fell asleep. And how cool would that be for Shanks to be in a tough fight, and Blackbeard's like, all right, well, I guess I'll do it. I'll do my final move, and he just falls asleep. And Shanks is like, whoa, okay. And then a giant monster comes out, and it's like, you think about the Beppo situation, which Vex just brought up. Like, remember, against Beppo, he was about to kill Law, and all of a sudden, Beppo becomes this giant monster and saves him and runs away, and even slashes Blackbeard, right, with claws. And so I think it could be a similar thing where Blackbeard was about to lose to Shanks and was like, all right, last resort time, and just became this giant monster whenever he fell asleep, and then slashed Shanks. And Shanks like, I'm getting the hell out of here. And then that was basically it. That seems to me like the most likely.
Man, I gotta say, but like, we haven't seen a full Blackbeard fight. We've seen like the beginnings, some of the middle parts, but we never see how it ends. We like jump cut to Blackbeard standing up victorious. It's like there's something Otis hiding.
Ace is the
best
he's
example. Hiding it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think the claws are a hint that he has claws in his zone form, or I don't know if it's a zone fruit, but whatever he transforms into. Because also in the Ace novel, he wears a bear head. Like, he has like a bear mask. Yeah, he like comes out. I can't remember the context exactly, but I think he's like hiding in a chest or something and jumps out and scares somebody, and he has like a bear head on or something like that. Yeah. And for me, I was always like, okay, because this sounds so dumb, but I couldn't help but think about it. Blackbeard's name literally has Black Bear in it. It's like Black Bear D. Like, that's literally his name. And so I don't know if that's where he's because also he has the hippo connection. So I don't know where that's all going.
Hey,
But
he killed. I don't know how many people know this too, but based off of the Ace Light novels, Blackbeard also killed the previous user of the giraffe fruit.
oh really? I don't remember that. When did that happen?
That's that one apparently it didn't get translated to English. It's volume 3 or 4 of like the actual light novel, not like the chapters, but like volume 3.
Okay, so that isn't out yet in English, I don't think. Right?
Yeah, yeah. So Ace defeats the guy with the giraffe fruit, and then Blackbeard kills him. And then that is how the world government later gets it and then gives it to Kaku, which is it's nice little lore, and I love that.
That's
I love the
crazy.
lore behind the giraffe fruit.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, Blackbeard's catching bodies, bro. Like he's like
Yep.
a Kainu of pirates, right?
Yeah,
like
I'll
just
bu-
killing people. I love it.
Kaido has nothing on Blackbeard in terms of catching bodies.
Yeah. Oh my god, I saw that. People
None.
talking down on Kaido. They're like, "Hey, he didn't kill anybody." It's like, yeah, it's fair.
I could see a world where he didn't even kill Higurashi. Like where he said, like, I killed the old hag. You don't have to worry about her. I can see a world where he's just like, ship her out at sea. She'll die, you know, out at sea by herself. And that's how the fruit got out in the world. Because that's still a question, right? Her fruit went to Bon Clay somehow. And so I think I could definitely see him shipping her out and like, all right, like, I can't bring myself to kill her. The only person Kaido has technically killed in the story, like confirmed 100%, is Odin. Because he was already boiled to 90% death and got shot in the face. So it was like the final blow. Well, even then he was smiling as he fell into the oil. So I guess that's like he wasn't even actually dead. And yeah, Shiny Charizard, they do hype up Blackbeard a lot in the Ace novels. Like he also is just like Deuce is trying to do like a secret maneuver to get around the Whitebeard ship to help out Ace during the Ace versus Whitebeard fight, and Blackbeard's like on top of it. He's like, oh, I thought you might come over here. Like, he's, like, super smart. So, they do talk him up. But, all right, guys.
If you were to die... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. If you have something to say. I was about to start wrapping it up, because I know we're getting close to 5 my time.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know where I was going with this. It's a crazy way to start a question, but if you were to die by any character in One Piece, who would it be?
Oh, that's
definitely not Blackbeard, right?
Great question. Great question. If I were to die...
you would meet your end. Who'd you want to kill you?
I gotta think about this. This is real tough, man. That's if I...
Yeah.
So I would want a cool death. So it has to be someone that I can change the world when I die. You know what I mean? I can yell something out like the One Piece is real.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I feel like Akainu is the if I get killed by Akainu, I'm iconic.
I think Akainu's my answer.
I think Doron might have my answer though. Boa.
Boa? Yeah, just get turned to stone.
Well, I gotta be honest. I don't really like Boa at all because she kicked a puppy, and so I can't. If she were to use if she were to use the Mero powers on me, I wouldn't get affected. I'm gonna be honest, because of the puppy kicking. I wouldn't get affected.
I think that's good though. Like you don't want to turn to stone when you're fighting Boa, because like imagine, okay, right? Like if you were like this dead body that Boa kicked to death, that's one thing. It's like, oh, like he went down fighting. If you were turned to stone and you died by Boa, it's like, oh, this guy got hard. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you don't want that to be your like
escaping
people remember
any allegations. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can't escape the allegations. Like this guy is bricked.
Yeah,
exactly. You can't look cool. It's done.
You can't look cool. I saw people saying Robin Foot Stamp. That might be all right.
That's not bad.
Is Bushido still here? I couldn't think of a good answer for myself, but I did think of an answer for Bushido, and that would be Death by Garchu from Carrot.
Oh,
Death by Garchu.
He's the Carrot guy.
Yeah, no. Death by Garchu. That's the way.
I'd pick Akainu. I feel like so I talk about this all the time. I don't know if you ever heard it, but Akainu looks just like my dad, which is probably why I like Akainu too, because he kind of acts like my dad.
But I can believe that. You even have the tattoos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, my dad's like really buff. I'm not buff at all. I'm kind of like, I'm really skinny, but my dad's like freaking huge for no reason. So I'm like, yeah, Akainu and my dad kind of go 1 and 1. So it's like being done in by a family member. I take that one.
That would be. I mean, I could see Akainu doing that also. That's the other factor. Like, if his family member was acting up. I mean, he was like...
Yeah, like Hibari.
Yeah, like if Hibari says, like, Kobe's better than you, she's dead. Probably.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like he has to have a soft side, right? Like, surely Akainu has, like, a fatherly side to him, maybe? It's a hard one.
It's so hard. I could see both
Like,
because
yeah.
he's about absolute justice. So kind of like right now with Dragon, who is a very good like antithesis to Akainu. They're the same age. You know what I mean? They were both Marines probably at the same time and all that kind of stuff. Like back in the day, they're each leaders of their respective things now. You know, whatever. Well, Dragon he's had a soft spot for Luffy because he always looks east. But like if you use like the Ginny situation, he doesn't. I don't know. You know what?
He draws a line. He draws a line.
To go back to the Dragon stuff real quick, a little bit of slander that just occurred to me that I think is worth bringing up. Now, again, we don't know all the details, but whenever Luffy was in trouble with Smoker, and I know it's a totally different thing, but he had no problem probably going like across the world or whatever to go save Luffy. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever his son is in trouble, it's all good. We got it. But I don't think that. I think what's going to actually happen though with Dragon, real quick, and this is like the last thing because I do need to get going soon. But I think what we're going to find out is Dragon had to make a similar decision with Luffy's mom that he made with Ginny, like where Ginny didn't get saved. I think it's going to be a similar situation where back in the day, Luffy's mom was taken, or maybe it wasn't even like by the government. It could have been by a pirate. Who knows what the situation was? But I think he had to make the decision to not save Luffy's mom back in the day, and that's going to make the Ginny situation hit way different because it's like, oh, it's like Dragon did like it's not just that it was like his commander's wife or whatever, or his girlfriend or whatever, and so it's like well, like I don't care that much because it's not my family. I think he's gonna be like, no, I have already made this decision with my family.
Yeah. And
so that will be, I think, a really big moment for Dragon. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Man, imagine the opposite though. I just love playing devil's advocate, but imagine he's like, I would go and save my wife, but not your wife, Kuma.
Yeah,
that would suck.
Oh, Bonnie's in trouble. We have to go save this place. Oh, Luffy's in trouble. I'll be right back. You know, like that. Like,
hey guys, revolutionaries, move out.
Yeah, exactly. Because like it was just him to go save Luffy, so that's kind of cool. Because it could just be like he doesn't involve his organization in his own affairs. Like I'm just gonna go do it myself.
It's like the Aramaki Green Bull smoke break. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Which by the way, I feel like Green Bull. I don't know if you've heard this theory, but he looks just like Don Quixote Mjosgard.
Oh, so I've seen that theory, not the Mosgard one, but I've seen the theories connecting Green Bull's lover to the Celestial Dragons, or maybe somebody that he's infatuated with, because he does have like this weird dislike for the Celestial Dragons and how the world works. So I feel like he's a victim of the Celestial Dragons to some extent. I kind of see like a Gil to Soto situation, but Oda just did that with Kuma, so I don't know. Like I don't know how many people can get cucked by Celestial Dragons at this point. Like it's like sad.
Because what I'm thinking is might have happened, because I like what you're saying, because if he looks like Don Quixote Mjosgard, well, we already know another Don Quixote left Marijois. And so maybe he's like the child of another person who left Marijois that's like maybe the maternal side of Mjosgard's family.
Yeah.
And because they look the exact same, dude. Like the hair color's the same. They have like the same. Everything looks the same. It's like uncanny. And so I think where that might be going is his grandma or something left Marijois, and so now he wants to be back in Marijois, but like he has like this weird complex with the Celestial Dragons because like he wants to be one probably, or like wants to have that lifestyle, but also hates them because they've made his life terrible because he was one and people hate him.
Is there a limit to what I can and can't say here? Because it's your stream. I want to be respectful, so so I can say whatever.
Yeah, we're also pretty late, in the stream now. Okay, so good. You're good.
So the last thing I'm gonna say is that if I was a Celestial Dragon, this is like my number one fear. Just like having so many kids that they come back to like get me later, because whenever you bust a load, like do you ever like think like this goes somewhere? Like, I always had a fear that one day, like, I'm going to have a bunch of sewer babies or, like, trash can babies that just come back and, like, attack me in my sleep.
Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
But, yeah. Like, 50 years from now, they're like, like, just these decrepit monsters crawling out from the night.
Yep.
And they're all, like, my kids that I just, like, oh, my gosh, it's the busted load of 97. Yeah. And they just come back, like the Sokka babies. Like, this is what's happening to the Celestial Dragons.
Dude, that's such a good idea because What if? So we think about the Great Cleansing. Think about the Great.
Yeah. Oh no.
So what if everyone was wiped out and everyone is a child of the celestial dragons today? Like that's actually like they wiped out most of the world, and now every single person's a descendant of the 20 kings. And so
they're done in by their sex addiction. Maybe this is a sign
That
like
would be
don't
crazy.
get addicted to sex. Like it's an Oda
It's
PSA.
Oda. Yeah, but it's also funny because it could also be the opposite with Kuma and Jinny, because it's like, no, like when the opportunity presents itself, you need to have the child, like because he didn't, and now someone else did with Jinny, and he's like, shit, you know. So I don't know.
Maybe there's something there.
Oda's so good about doing like both sides in the same situation, like you know what I'm saying, like.
Yeah.
Like Kuma could easily take that lesson to be, oh, I should have just married her and had kids with her right away. Like that could be like his like part of what he's taking from it. But then the other part that we're supposed to take from it is like, oh, this is terrible. Like they're not. This is very bad. And also that it was good for Kuma to think that, because he's thinking of his family. Like, I don't want her to suffer because of my bloodline or whatever. But then the celestial dragons are like, I could care less, even if they get sick. You know, like even if they get the sapphire scale.
Let's just have as many kids as possible.
Yep, exactly.
Man, that's crazy. Like, for people who wear bubbles on their heads, they don't wear the bubble. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're putting the bubble on the wrong. Yeah, that bubble.
The wrong.
They need another
buddy.
bubble. Yeah, exactly. There might be some other bubbles that are needed.
I mean, like the 20 MDs up there.
Yeah, I mean, weren't the bubbles, like at least the ones in Sabaody, said to be like resin bubbles, and resin's like used to make rubber, so it's like right there. Like we're almost, you know.
Guys, it's like just downstairs.
Yeah, it's right there.
It's the wrong protection.
But all right, guys, I think we're about to wrap it up because it's almost 5.
Yep.
It's past 4:20. You know, that was the time I wanted to end it. It was 4:20.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We will pass that one.
Yeah. So I'll have to. It's almost 4:20 your time, so you know I can just. I'll just wait till then. But Sai, thank you so much for doing this. It was a great discussion, my friend.
Of course, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that we finally have a chance to talk one-on-one. I feel like we were always like, you know, side shows to some extent, you know.
Yeah.
We were like always party to like some other person, but it's nice being here one-on-one. It's been a lot of fun.
Yep.
I'm glad you kidnapped me.
Yep, and we love Par and would have loved to have Par here, but it is nice to talk to you without Par, just because every time I ever have, it's been with him. So next time we'll get all 3 of us together and we'll do something. But
maybe we'll even grab everybody. We'll kidnap more people.
Yeah. And well,
offer up your family members. We'll visit them soon.
I was about to say we'll take your kids and wives too. We'll take them all.
They're gonna be in the back row, just like all tied up, like they can't say anything. Like, what do you think about that
God.
theory?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so funny.
That's hilarious.
That's what I'm gonna be doing at Anime NYC. Actually, be recruiting for the background.
You go around asking people about their One Piece theories, like, oh, that's awesome. Here, have this not good drink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll draw the line there.
Yeah. Now we're getting in Vasco territory.
Yeah. Now Vasco shot's possessing me, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say thank you everyone for all your awesome support today. Super chats were awesome. Chats were awesome. Thank you for, you know, being the great people you guys usually are. Thank you guys very much. And also I want to say one more time, all the new members who got memberships today, or if you're a member anyway, and you just were before this, and you want One Piece TCG cards, and you live in US and Canada, I've got a lot of rules here, but just go check my community posts. If you're a member, you'll see it because it's members only. I talk about getting your chance to get free TCG cards. Check that out. Enter if you're a member, and you'll get those in a couple weeks when we do the stream. And Sway Shocks just celebrated being a member for 5 months and just said W. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Sway, also major thank you, Sway, for checking out my boy Max's streams. I see you there all the time. Well, I talked about him a couple times before, but Sway knows who he is. That's all that matters. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Sai, thank you.
Thank you, guys.